driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Well, good afternoon, people. Hope everyone's good, or as good as you're going to be. Well, after a result like that against Man City, we got all the positive stuff in the world to talk about. Loads of stuff there, loads of questions about it. Was things intentional? Did Ange mean to do that? Did Man City put it on us? But at the end of the day, we go and smash City 4-0 up at the Etihad. And right, okay, that's positive. We can take it somewhere. We can do something here, maybe. I mean, it is Spurs after all. And then lo and fucking behold, our goalkeeper, which we knew nothing of, has to have an operation because he's got a fractured ankle. I've read it's fractured. Some are saying it's broken. I don't know. If it's broken, we're even more fucked. A fracture can actually be worse than a break sometimes, but the ankle, ouch. Where do we go from there? Like I said on the show, we are fucked as far as I'm concerned. Some will say, yes, that's toxic, that's negative, try and be positive with life and everything. No, mate. No, I'm sorry. I don't see a positive side of this. I don't see a way out of this one. We are up shit street, good and proper. Because with a fracture or a break, like I said, a fracture can be worse than a break. It also depends whether it's actually touched his tendons on his ankles, whatever else. And this is going to be at least 8 weeks out. At least 8 weeks. In my opinion. It could even go to 3 months if it's touched his tendons bad enough. So we are now at the end of November. So that means December, January, and possibly even March, we are without our first choice goalkeeper. Why, oh why, have we not actually bought a second keeper? You know, no one had to say it'd be a quality keeper or what, but no one predicted this. No one see it coming. Don't worry, we got Fraser Forster. I mean, don't worry in Europe. I mean, we picked 4 or 5 goalkeepers anyway for it. The fact is, 2 of them are 25, for one of them's 24, 25. Either way, between 25, 26, whatever. And they're still in the fucking under-21s team. That just about says it all. So basically, our only option that we are going to go for here for the next month, at least, unless we get someone in January, which is really no option, we must do, is Fraser Forster. The fridge, the tree. I mean, don't get me wrong, the fella's a unit. Don't get me wrong, he had a good game in Europe against Carrierbag. We are in trouble, and it is what it is. And there is absolutely nothing we can do about this except work with what we've got. There's no little rule that's going to help us out where we can go and get a goalkeeper on loan or nothing. Why? Because we got enough goalkeepers anyway. And I'm sort of sitting there and I'm actually lost on what to say. Now, I know a lot of people have been digging at Vicario lately. Me being one of them, but it depends what you call digging at him. I think he's a very good shot stopper. And he has saved our ass in a few games. No two ways about it. But I do believe he can improve in other ways. I mean, for me, he's one of the top 3 shot stoppers in the Premiership. But that is his job. But still, he's good at it. Yes, he can improve in other ways. And there's been a lot of talk about him. Is he good enough? Are other goalkeepers better? Well, one thing we do know, he's better than fucking Fraser Forster. Dear, oh dear. Only at Tottenham could this shit really happen. Only at Spurs. You do think, what did we do in our previous lives to deserve this shit? Ow, that coffee's still hot. What did we do? What did we really do to deserve this shit? I mean, with us, it just goes from one to the other. Every time something looks good, the shit hits the fan in another way. And this one just couldn't have been worse because we got no backup. We have got absolutely nobody who can really cover this man. Even though we got 4 or 5 keepers, we have got nobody that can cover this man properly. Fraser Forster in goal against Chelsea, Liverpool, against any team. He is our second choice keeper for a reason. I mean, what is he now? 38? I suppose it is what it is, and we're just going to have to make something of this. And Ange is now going to really have to adapt. I'll go into that one. So I've had my little rant now, and I will come back to it because it is what it is. But we are up shit street, and there's no ifs or buts about it. Anyone who tries to be positive with me on this, I'm just be the fuck realistic. Yeah. And Daryl Denton, failure to prepare to fail, no sympathy. Totally understand what you're saying, mate. The one you got to have sympathy for, though, is us, Spurs supporters, us. We deserve some empathy here, if that's the right word to use. I'm not very good with those sort of words. It's not usually something I use. We deserve some sympathy here. I mean, did any of us argue for a second choice goalkeeper? I know a few of us mentioned it. I know I thought about, do we need another goalkeeper? But it wasn't a priority. We needed a goalkeeper. And that is what we got. And we needed other places. It's just no one ever really predicts your goalkeeper getting injured, do they? Not many people do. Not many see it coming. And Sue Smith, big up to you. Hope you're doing well. Always on there, always good. The tree is well past it. And some were moaning about Big Vic. Exactly. And Scott, how you doing, mate? Give Alston a go. He signed a 5-year. Let's see what he has got. Maybe it's an option. Maybe it is. But he's 25 and in the under-21s for a reason. There's a reason why Fraser Forster is picked before him in the European games. Maybe it's worth a go. I mean, anything's worth a go. Do you know what? Why don't we just fucking stick Archie Gray there? Seems to work everywhere else, doesn't it? I mean, he is a generational player. Mark Cook, afternoon, Dan. Smash the like and subscribe. Let's get Dan up to 4K. Yes, please. That'd be appreciated. Thank you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Mark Taylor, Dan, the goddamn legend. Thank you, mate. It's appreciated. Hope you're having a good day. Tom, big up, Dan. Chat. Hope all is good. Well, it's obviously not all good, is it? We can see that, but I hope everyone's personal lives are good. But on the football side of it, and Rob saying, stupid is as stupid does. I suppose that is meant at Spurs. That is what I presume. And if that is what you're saying, you're 100% right. You've been levied. Yes, we have, haven't we? Or have we been anged? One or the other. It's one way or another. We have been done over like a kid real. We've got the tree and goal for the next 10 games. So we are finished. Yes, mate. I've already said it. We are done, mate. Done and dusted. Baked potato. See you later. Is the way I see this one. And I just really cannot be positive about this in any means or manner. And Rooty 2, big up to all. At least this means we have to buy another keeper in the January window. Hope Luca Gunter gets a few chances. We are going to have to buy another one in January, without a doubt. And for another keeper in January, I think we've definitely got to go for one that can fight, or if not, is good enough to take that first place off of Vicario. Because a bit of competition for Vicario won't do him no harm. And if we get a good goalkeeper in who plays extremely well, and then Vicario doesn't walk back in and he has to fight for his place, I personally think that is a good thing. I mean, he's never really had to fight for his place. I mean, he's never really been let down. I mean, Vicario's had his cranky moments. We all know that. But again, as a shot stopper, he's one of the best. But we could definitely do with a goalkeeper that would also give him competition. Same as if we need someone on the left, same as we need someone on the right. We need more competition in this first team. And goalkeeper-wise, we definitely have none. And Angus, how you doing, mate? I've had this injury before, and it fucking kills. Yes, mate, I can't say I've ever fractured my ankle or broke my ankle, but I remember playing football years ago, trod on my ankle and sprained it, whatever you want to call it, swelled up nicely, tendons around it, nicely done, or ligaments, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it hurt for a good 2 weeks, and that was because I trod on my ankle, let alone fractured it. I'm pretty sure he hasn't got a break, but like I said, a fracture can actually be worse than a break. Because a break is easier to heal in certain places, and it depends how it breaks. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know this already, but you break something clean, break a bone. The way they do, strap it back together like that, and the bone itself matches back together, but then it can also get stronger because it grows over the top on either side, and it can actually make the bone stronger with a clear break. I'm sure a lot of people know this. You get a splinter where it does that, yeah, you're foobarred. Fucked up beyond all recognition. You're done. It's never fixing properly. Problem is with a fracture, it depends what sort of fracture it is. You can get a hairline fracture and other types. They are a lot harder to heal. And they actually take significantly longer to heal than a straightforward break can. That is why this one, if it is an out-and-out fracture, could be worse than him breaking it. We just don't know what has gone on yet. But yeah, even when I just sprained my ankle, mate, that killed me for easily 2 weeks. I was limping about very badly. And Rooty 2, what you're saying here, it couldn't have been a main bone, as he wouldn't have been able to stand up. Better a fracture than a tendon. Now that one I can agree with. Your tendon goes or your ligament goes. You're never getting it back to what it was. It's like when you do your backing. You do your backing, you'll never fix it. Never. I've done mine in good and proper. I mean, what is it they say? I can't even remember the name of it. Bulging back spine disorder. It's where I've had to slip this so many times down the bottom. It just won't heal up properly. And back pains are not nice. But once you've done your back, you've done it. You're never going to fix it. Never 100%. So let's say you fix your back 90%. Just like a tendon or a ligament. Okay, it's strong. You do it again, you will only fix it 90% again. So now you're 20% damaged. You do it again, you'll only fix it 80% again. So you're now 40% screwed. Your tendons, your ligaments, they are just like your back. Once it's done, it is done. You will never get it back to square one and the strength it was again. The other thing is with a fracture, though, is it's very hard to get to as well, depending where it is. This is why a fracture could be worse than a clear break. Again, we just don't know. And Ryan, big up Dan, we called it. The window left us short again. Yes, it did, mate. A lot of people did look on it. But when we got that first choice goalkeeper, me being one of them, I sort of turned a blind eye for it. I knew it in the side, like, yes, another goalkeeper would help, but we needed that first choice goalkeeper. And that is where I think a lot of people, like I said, me included, sort of pushed that one aside a bit because it wasn't the priority. We needed that first choice goalkeeper. And then we definitely needed other players. And we didn't really do a very good job of that either, did we? And yeah, it has left us short again, for sure. And Rooty Toot saying again, they're saying back in February, he's hoping. Well, yeah, then that's even getting worse. Without a doubt, we need we need a goalkeeper in January, and we need to spend a bit of money. And Tony, how you doing, mate? Always good to see you. Big up Dan in the chat. Ange still on that stage, mate. But do you know what? He can prove a lot. This one can really show us something about Ange. Same as that Man City game can. And I'll go to that in a minute. I'm going to go through a few more people first. And Mike, how you doing, mate? Hope you're good. If you want to jump on, do say so. I know you're busy a lot of the time, but what I do, you usually have a level-headed opinion, unlike most of us. And getting another opinion in here wouldn't be the worst idea. So if you're not busy, mate, only if you're not busy, I've sent you the link there because I'm sure you could come up with a more comical side to this that would make people laugh. Because you've got a lighter sense of humour, basically. But yeah. So, March, he will be back, in my honest opinion. See, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? I mean, January, so what? December, January, February, March. So this could be anything from 2 months to 4 months. Dear, oh fucking dear. And Tony saying play Austin. Oh, look, mate, I don't know. I really don't. He's 25 and in the under 21s for a reason. I just really don't know where we go here. Bruty 2, Brandon Austin has just got a new 5-year contract. Typical Levy Cheese pairing. Yes, it is. But again, mate, he's in the under 21s for a reason. And go to the fourth. Austin is going to get rinsed. Mate, any goalkeeper we put in there is going to get rinsed. Now, we all know Forster can stop a shot if it's kicked at him. So can most of us. I mean, he is a unit. But he's an old school goalkeeper. He's what I'm now. I'm not relating him to how good, but he's definitely a Peter Cech sort of goalkeeper, David Seaman sort of goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel sort of goalkeeper. I'm not saying he's within a million miles of these players, but he's an old school goalkeeper. Stay on your line. Don't come off it. Stay on your line, get the ball, clear the ball. Don't move. No passing, no crap like that. Save it, get rid of it. Stay on the line. That's what he is. And that's not what a modern day goalkeeper needs to be. This is why modern day goalkeepers are so few and far between. Because as a goalkeeper these days, you need to actually be able to play football, not just be a goalkeeper. And Fraser Forster is not a footballer. Okay, he plays football, but he is a goalkeeper. And he just, no, it just won't. Can you imagine that going up against Chelsea and he's got Palmer against him, or we're up against Liverpool and he's got Salah coming up against him, or other players? Mate, we are fucked completely. And Delhi 20, big up Dan. You know, Vicky, can't believe it. Looks like we're lumbered with 4-star. There's no look about it, mate. We are. It is what it is. I think the powers that be don't think Vicario would get injured. I don't know what to say, mate. It is what it is. You're right. It is what it is. I mean, I suppose a lot of people, I think, make that mistake of not looking at their second keeper so much. Because how often do you really hear of a goalkeeper getting a serious injury? I know Nick Pope got one last season that proper busted him. It does happen, but it is one of the last ones you actually look at. I mean, if you had to bring out a subs bench and you had to miss one type of player on there, I suppose I speak for myself here, a goalkeeper is one I could necessarily put aside, which would be a stupid thing to do, but depending what other players I wanted on there, because you really just don't think of the goalkeeper getting injured. Even though he probably has one of the most physical sides of the game, it goes over a lot of people's heads, me included. And I can imagine quite a few people here are guilty for it as well. Quite a few people on other shows, everything. I mean, no one saw this one coming from a long shot, without a doubt. And Shem, what you're saying here, mate, big up Dan, can't get another goalkeeper unless it's homegrown, because that's why we have, start again, sorry. That's why we have 4 now, because of homegrown and home trained or whatever that's called. Exactly, I know what you mean. I know there's a rule out there or something that if you've got a busted goalkeeper or whatever, you can get one or low. I can't remember the exact rule, but either way, it doesn't avert to us because we've got about five of them, and they're all shit. Angus, NLD has just got easier for us. Yeah, well, you know where you can stick that one, mate, where the sun don't shine, but I get the comical side of it. And Delhi 20, what happened to his ankle? Like I said earlier, mate, a fracture as far as I know. Angus, McDowell, there's goalkeeper better than him at shot stopping. I don't know who you're relating to. I mean, if you go to Vicario, shot stopping, I think there's only 1 or 2 actually better than him. Overall goalkeeper, yes, there is better. But shot stopping, he is one of the best in the league. There's no ifs or buts about that. Is he a better goalkeeper than Raya? Overall, no, not in my opinion. Is he a better shot stopper? Yes. Is Raya a more complete goalkeeper than Vicario? Yes, because it doesn't just come down to shot stopping. But that's just honesty, in my opinion. In my opinion. But Vicario is one of the best shot stoppers out there. I think really the only one better is probably Alisson, because I think he's a better shot stopper than Ederson, Pope, Raya. And now we've got to deal with Fraser Forster. Fridgeman, I think God hates Tottenham, to be honest. Yeah, mate, you just could easily believe that, couldn't you? You just think when something looks right at Spurs, it goes wrong without fail. That's why do you know what? It's like the thing that I say with Spurs. I mean, I know this, it sounds stupid, yeah? But I've been a Spurs fan 43 now, easily, coming on 40 years now. The things that Spurs have put me through, as a supporter, as a person, we could be in the last game in the Premier League, at the top of the table, 50 points clear on goal difference or something, 4 points clear. The league's ours. We've done it. So why am I still looking over my shoulder? Why would I still be looking over my shoulder? Because it doesn't matter whether we win 10-0, 20-0, even if we lost 100-0. Because we're 4 points clear. And we've won the league. And then only with Tottenham could something just pop up and go wrong where we got 2 points deducted. Something like that. I don't know why. Even 4 points clear at the top on the last game, I'd still be looking over my shoulder. Why? Because it's fucking Spurs. Again, call it negative, but time has that effect on you, sadly. And Mike, what are you saying here, mate? Delhi, yeah, I think it's a fracture because when he landed weird and after Savio pressed him. Yeah, from what I've read, mate, it is a fracture. And Rooty Toot saying here, Forster is 36. Fair enough. Is it really here? It's neither here nor there, mate. Shit. So whether he's 36 or 38, whether he's 50, mate, he ain't going to do it. And Rooty Toot saying again, and Forster is on 75 grand a week. Really? Shit, I didn't know he was on that much. But then again, why don't it surprise me? Again, it's Spurs, isn't it? And Daryl Denton saying, God don't hate us. Levy does for having shit depth in the goalkeeper area. And same as Vicario. And Vindaloo, how you doing, mate? Opal's good. And he's saying, big up Dan and the chat. So, right, I'm going to get to the point here. A lot of people have been questioning, me included, this last game against Man City. Was this Ange? Was this him? Was this what he intended to do? Or is it City puts it on you that much that you end up having to play like that? Now, either one of these are believable. I'm actually a believer. I'm going to stick up for our manager here. Yeah, believe it or not, I am. Because with first 10, 15 minutes, as far as I'm concerned, we looked like we was playing our usual way. I used to phrase Ange ball. Yes, I'm sick to fucking death of it, same as the rest of yous. A lot of yous. But a lot of people call it Ange ball because there's a tactic to it. It's the way he does it. They understand. The reason I use it is because people understand what I mean when I say it. And then you mention other managers like Conte style, like I use or whatever, because it's a total different style of football. And a lot of people will understand it. And then you'll always get the ones who don't understand it, and then you just get the pricks who don't want to understand it. And after 15 minutes, they was all over us like a bad rash. And then it just seemed to change. It wasn't that City took the pressure off. It seemed like we fixed up. We definitely changed our style. We definitely pulled back more. And we definitely stopped inverting the wing backs totally. Now and again, Porro stepped in. I didn't really see Udogie do it much. And even when we went forward, the wing backs went overlapping. And at times, we had one of our centre mids who actually came back to more of a defensive midfield position, both of them. When we went forward, even one of them stayed back and almost gave us free at the back cover. So for me, we was playing fast, counter-attacking football. Whereas other people have still tried telling me this is Ange ball. Yes, of course they would. But I personally think he actually sat there for once and actually thought about it and thought, right, I'm up shit street here. The fans are getting on my case now. And I've got to come up with a plan. Because we also went for City where they definitely had their weakest spot. And that was in midfield. Centre mid. That was definitely their weakest spot. And it looked like that was what we went for. Goalkeepers weren't just passing it out to the nearest one and putting themselves up shit street. Defenders weren't just tippy-tapping, piss-balling about. Yes, there was some passing there, but a lot of it was direct forward. And then, lo and behold, you see quite a few times, you see Vicario boot it up the pitch. Dragusin boots it straight up the centre to take on to Kulusevski, to take on where we got the goal. How often do we see a defender do that? We even see the wing-backs do it, who was actually playing as fucking wing-backs for a change, not inverted wing-backs. And there was that attitude on there of when in doubt, kick it out. And we did it. The whole style of our game changed. And it looked better. I'm almost sick to death saying it myself, but I've been screaming for about 13 months now that this team has got fast, direct, counter-attacking football written all over it. And so many people say, no, I don't want to go back to playing Conte style football, fossil football. I don't want to go back to play it. It's boring to watch. Well, was that game against City boring to watch? No, it wasn't. Why? Because we had the players capable of doing that and making it look good. When you've got the right players to play the right way and you play the right players to their sync, to what they are best at, you can make an average team look very, very good. And that is what we did. So I'm going to give that credit to Ange. Call it a bit of hope as well, if you will. But I don't think it was the players that changed their minds. I don't think it was just that City put it on us as such. I believe they put it on us to the point that we had to change to that way, but I don't think they directed it on us to the point that the players just done it naturally. I think Ange actually had a plan B. Now, when I've spoke to other people, some agree, some don't, obviously not. Some are going to agree on here, some are not. With this one, it's only time will tell. It's only time will tell is Ange, did he really have a plan B? Or are we just going to go back to Ange ball? And then it just all looks a mess again. So it's only in the games coming up that we're going to tell if this really was a plan B. Because there's certain times his style can work against certain teams. And then there's other teams, no. Just no. And it shows. Now is where And big up Eugene, by the way. I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well. And now is where we are going to see how can Ange adapt. Because we have a shit goalkeeper. We do not have a first choice keeper. If we go back to our usual way of playing football, I'll stick to calling it Ange ball because people understand it. Sick to death of the phrase, but people will understand it. We go back to playing that way, up on the halfway line, which is suicidal football anyway, with inverted wing backs and everyone sitting in their half. And then the minute they get a direct ball down us or over the top or open us up on the wings as usual. Can you picture some of that? We really will be fucked. We really will be up shit street. We cannot afford to play that way now, even against smaller teams as such, even against teams that we should be destroying, but haven't won a game all season and still go and beat us, like Ipswich and Crystal Palace. Reason being why people struggle to get high off a game like Man City. Okay, great. Roma and Fulham next. It would just be the most Spursy thing to do to go and slap by them. If we go back to playing our usual way, no, it's not an option for me. This is not an option. If we go and do that, we are going to get absolutely torn a new one, to the point that every time we walk off that pitch, we are going to be limping like John Wayne, and there is going to be no lube involved. Sorry for the nasty phrase, people, but I'm just not the best way with words. But that is literally how it is going to be. We will get torn a new one every single time, to the point where there's just nothing left to tear. And that's going to be against mediocre teams, let alone when we go up against Liverpool and City and games like that, and have to play Manchester United again. And Ange is really going to have to work out his defence now. Ange is really going to have to focus on his defence more than anything. This suicide shit can't go on. We've been saying it for ages, a lot of us anyway. Some people like it, a lot of people don't, a lot of people do. Each their own at the end of the day, whatever turns you on. Each to their own. I've never liked this style of football. I've always been what you'd say a pragmatic player, if that is the right phrase for it. I love good old Italian style football. Sit back, take the shit, fast counter attack it. Because goals, strikers, yeah, they win you games. Defence and goalkeeper wins you leagues, as far as I'm concerned. Goalkeepers can get you 10 points to 15 points in a season when you've got a solid one. I mean, the way Vicario played last season, you think how many games he saved our ass. And he definitely saved us 10 points last season. And that is why you need a quality goalkeeper. And that is what we don't have now. So we are going to have to cover this fella more than ever. Fraser Forster at the back, or Austin, whoever they put in there, but he's going to be Fraser Forster. We're going to have to cover his ass big time. And this is where Ange is going to have to adapt. And we are going to see whether he has got the capability of doing it. People saying in the Man City game, there's the proof he can adapt. Okay, for me, there's the proof he can adapt. Now adapt. One game ain't good enough. We need to see this on a regular basis, that you can adapt to game, to game, to game. You have to adapt to every game as far as I'm concerned, because every team has a different player that is a different risk. One team might be more of a risk down the middle. One team might have a problem down both flanks. One team might have a striker that is just too quick. Every game you have to adapt as far as I'm concerned. Not change the whole system, but adapt. And that is what we've been wanting this man to do. And for me, that is what he looks like to me that he done against Man City. So what is he going to do now? Where do we go now? He's definitely going to have to sort this defence out. We cannot play with this high inverted wing-backs line. We can't do it. I mean, can you imagine what will happen? I am dreading these next 2 months. Or let's say month for December anyway. I mean, I was dreading December anyway, because that's when things really get rough. I'm dreading it now, and I cannot imagine the Spurs fan on here who's looking forward to this shit. And by the way, what you're saying here, question. Okay, that's random. I'll give you that one. What is your top 5 video games ever, Dan? Random question. I'll give you that one. And I won't deny it. I do love my PlayStation. Without my PlayStation, you touch my PlayStation, I hurt you. I won't deny it. I do like my PlayStation. If I'm going to give you a couple of games quick, I'm going to have to go with Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, God of War, Fallout 4, and Assassin's Creed Origins. There's your answer there, mate. No, sorry. Assassin's Creed Uni. I think that's better than Origins. But there's just an answer for the question. Random question, so I answered it. And Vindaloo saying, big up Psycho. Yes, big up Psycho teacher to you as well, mate. Hope you're doing good. And Jordan, these injuries only seem to happen to Spurs. With how long they are out and how they all about the same time. It does, mate. Doesn't it just? It just does seem like something somewhere has got it in for us. It does just seem like we, as Spurs fans, did something in the past. I mean, there's a lot of things I can relate it to, but I've been told they're not the best things to relate it to, so I won't do it. But quite a few of us must have lived a horrible, horrible previous several lives to live like we have to live as Spurs fans. And Angus saying, Edison, Alisson, Raya are better at shot stopping and are better than him. No. Edison is not a better shot stopper than Vicario. Not in my opinion. And neither is Raya. Not a chance. Raya is a more complete goalkeeper and a better goalkeeper. I will go with that. And so is Edison. I will go with that. But neither of them two are better shot stopping than Vicario. If I want to go for shot stopping and be totally honest with you, mate, I personally think Nick Pope is a better shot stopper than Raya. Shot stopping is not Raya's strong point. But as a complete goalkeeper of what he can do, Raya is better than Vicario. Like it or lump it, people. Or just my opinion. But to me, that one's a bit more of a fact, but some will argue otherwise. But Edison and Raya are not a better shot stopper than Vicario. Not in a million years. And Vindaloo saying Angus all right actually after that Forest game, after the Forest game. And Rooty 2, Becker is injured, hamstring. Liverpool has Keller to step in. Exactly. And who have we got? Fraser Forster. This is about being prepared, isn't it? And that is one thing Tottenham never are, and that is prepared. We're just never prepared. I mean, some things in football, in life, you can even put it, you can't be ready for it. You just can't be ready for it. You will always miss something, but you can be prepared. At Spurs, we're just never even fucking prepared, let alone ready for it. That is why, in so many ways, we are just a joke of a football club. The only thing we're ever prepared for is when the new season starts, or we know we're in the Champions League, or we know there's something coming up, and the owner has already put the prices of the tickets up. That is the only time we are ever prepared, and that is to put the prices up. And that you can thank Mr. Levy for it. I suppose there'd be a lot of us who'd ring Mr. Levy and have a beer with him. I know I would. I'd love to have a beer, have a chat with him on the phone. All cool, mate. Have a chat with you, and I will see you next Tuesday or Thursday, whatever comes along. And Simply Ace, what are you saying here? Hello, everyone. Our squad has been like a house of cards over the last 24 years, ready to collapse at any time. Only Spurs can have the goalkeeper and two best centre backs injured all at the same time. So yes, we are fucked. Yes, completely. Now with that, you saying cards. I'll go back to Ange there, yeah? Problem I've had with Ange for a long time is, to me, again, I'm just relating it to it, but everyone sees it different. To me, football is very, very similar to a game of poker. I don't know how many people on here play poker. Texas Hold'em. Used to play it down the pub all the time for money with my mates and everything. Still play it now with the family. Teaching the teenage, I mean, what are they now to me? Well, I'm married to my missus, so they are her cousins. So are they my cousins? I don't, the family tree and that, it just fucking does my head in anyway. But either way, younger members of the family, teens, whatever, I'm in the middle of teaching most of them how to play poker anyway. I mean, they are 17, 16. And poker is a fun game to play with your family. But the point I'm getting to with poker, Texas Hold'em, there is tactics. And you can use good tactics at that. You can use tactics in playing chess. Now, I don't look like the type, but chess is another game I love playing. Really do. Why? Because there's tactics to it. Playing poker, the tactics to it, you can just sit there and you can just play as you wish, and you can win. And you can also lose very much. And in a matter of one turn, you can go from being at the very top to the bottom. You can go from the bottom to being at the very top. What can you do in poker? You can bluff your way through it all the way. And then people start reading you. So you've got to chop and change a bit. I mean, my tactic in poker that pisses a lot of people off is when I'm at the poker table with mates down the pub, is I just do a lot of talking, which I do a lot anyway, I know, but I do a lot of talking with them. And they do like, Dan, can you shut up? You're actually putting me off. And I'm like, that's the idea. I don't really care. Call it a bit of a tactic. But when you're playing poker, you can read the game. You've got to try and read other people on what they're doing. You've got to try and read other people on how they are playing. You've got to see if they are getting common in what they are doing. And what I mean by common, almost call it consistent in what they are doing. Some people just stick to one way and one way only. Like our manager seems to stick at playing football a majority of the time. You got to change it. Now, 1 minute you can be sitting there and your deck's looking good. Your cards are looking smart. And then within a matter of one card coming down in the middle, that person over there and that person over here has just got leap bounds above you and you're up shit street and you know it. So what do? Do you just say bollocks and bluff it and go through it? Option, yes, it works. And it also bites you in the ass very badly. Or you can, do you know what? Not a chance in hell. I'm going to fold that one. And there's ways you can work around it. Or you just, okay, let's wait for the next one to go round. See if he puts any money down. See if everyone taps. Okay, and we'll see what the next card comes down. Next card comes down, good. Next thing you know, you're ahead of them. You play with the cards you got. And this is one thing Ange has not been doing. He has been playing the players the way he wants to play poker. And this is where he needs to learn. And if he did in the last game, hopefully, you can only play with the cards you got. Unless you just want to bluff it all the time. And you cannot bluff it all the time, for sure. And now, he is really going to have to play with the cards he's got. Because where our goalkeeper is now absolutely screwed and our central defenders aren't 100% on peak, he's going to have to play with the cards he's got. He's going to have to adapt. Is he going to try and bluff his way through this shit? If he tries to bluff his way through this shit, he will be gone in January. Because we will basically lose every game unless we just have a very lucky game in that aspect. So he's going to have to play with the cards he's got. He is really going to have to adapt here. And this is really where we will see how well we can adapt. How well can Ange play with these cards now? Was it just a bluff? Was it just pure chance what happened at Man City? Was it just a pure chance when we looked like we was playing more counter at Aston Villa? Because again, if he goes back to his way with what we're doing, without the goalkeeper, it's game over. So what can he actually do? I mean, someone give me some ideas. I mean, do we go to 3 at the back? That's definitely what I would want to do anyway, but that's definitely not Ange style. Or does he go and keep the back 4 a lot lower back? He's got options. It's not as though the man hasn't got options. So I've got a guest here who's going to come on. Mike, how you doing, mate?
Big up. Sorry I couldn't join it earlier, but I was like out of the flat. Because like usually at that hour I go out to eat. And I was even wondering if I should, because you know I was walking back home when you sent me the link. And I was wondering if I should like join then, but I was like near a busy road, so the audio probably would have been all fucked up. So you know, I decided I'm going to, you know, go back, sit in front of the PC. And
you're always welcome, mate. Right. We're fucked, aren't we?
Mate, it's I've been
your
using
opinion on this whole situation, mate. Go for goal.
Mate.
Next 10 minutes are yours. I'm going to sit here and just shut the fuck up. We are fucked. Down to you.
Mate, it's like I've been using this phrase for past like couple of weeks that whenever you want to bug this club, it always kicks you in the nuts, and it's just another kick that we've taken. It's like a few more and my balls will be made of steel. Like I kid you not. It's like you know, we've just beaten the champions at their own ground 4-0, right? And you would think that at least for a couple of days before Roma, we could relish in it, right? And be happy and, have fond memories of the weekend or whatever, right? It only took fucking 24 hours or like 48 hours for all of it to just go to shit. And like some people may think I'm over exaggerating, right? But it's no, it's basically.
Before you say it, I can say no. Go on, mate. Sorry.
I've been listening to what you said, right? And you are basically spot on, right? It's like I don't want to like slate Forster before he like even had a chance, but it's a huge drop down, right? And I think Forster himself would probably agree with you, right? That he's not at the peak of his career, and neither does he suit what we want to go for, right? It's like, if he was like, I don't know, like who is like a 35-year-old keeper, but that used to play for Guardiola or whoever, and he knows, all about, playing out of the back, whatever, but he was just old, right? It's different. As you said, like Forster he's an old school keeper, right? Back in the day, he was like really good, right? There were certain points where Forster was like recognized in the Premier League and in other leagues as a solid, shot stopper and like a king of the box, right? Because of his size and his like dominance in the air, right? But right now, he's like too slow, and I think like we've had plenty of opportunities to see that, and I like watch it, right? Like starting from first day, we will start conceding goals where the winger goes in one-on-one and they just place it low down near the post, and Forster will never make it in time to go down there and save the shot, right? Basically, like one of Vicario's saves against like City in the early minutes, where Haaland just slapped it with his left and he just threw a leg out and stopped it near post, right? Forster ain't doing that. Forster it's just going past him, right? And as you said, it's like we are fucked pretty much, right? And I honestly don't know what can be done about it, right? I've looked through like free agents, goalkeepers. You can go on Transfermarkt and look for free agents, right? And I kid you not, the only two that I actually knew were Karius, the ex-Liverpool goalkeeper. Like he was German,
36, 37, isn't he?
Yeah, and
God, is that the one that fucked it right up in the Champions League?
Yeah, him. And the other one was the Keylor Navas. I think he's from Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. I think I know who you mean. I think I know who you're on about.
He was a goalkeeper for PSG, and like a season or two ago, he was at Nottingham Forest. It's like, but he's like 39, right? Maybe he's more mobile than Forster, but it's like, is it that big of an upgrade? Not really, right? So I honestly, I doubt that our club will sign a new goalkeeper. That's how I look at it, right? Because we have 3 other goalkeepers in the squad, right? So I think Forster will be given the obvious, first choice, right? He will be the first guy out of the bench. But I don't know, I think if he fucks up and he's really bad, then maybe Austin will get a chance, considering because we have Austin and Whiteman, right? And they are like the same age, right? But Austin got the new contract recently, so I think they will give Austin the chance. But it's like, fuck's sake, is it an upgrade on Forster? I doubt it, right? Maybe they are younger and a bit more agile, but that's it, right? It's like,
well, they're 25, 26, whatever it is, and still in the under 21s for a bloody reason, isn't they? Fraser Forster is still in front of them for a reason.
Yeah, it's like we signed Forster for obvious reasons, right? Because we had issues with the homegrown like stuff, right? So we signed an English keeper for him just to sit on the bench and come in here and there, right? But unfortunately, like a situation happened where he will need to play like 2 or 3 months, right? He or one of the boys, right, from the academy, or because like people have been saying like give Luka Gunter a chance, or other keepers that we have in the academy, like real 19-year-olds. This ain't happening. Just I've seen how this club and how this manager work, and I've lost faith in young unproven players getting regular chances, right? I think Gray is the only one who's getting like regular minutes, and it's not even in his like nailed on position, right? So I don't think if you have like a Forster who's like 36-year-old season pro, I don't think they will make a choice to not play him and play like a 19-year-old from the academy, right? It's
you say season pro, just the way he comes across more like season pension, isn't it?
like he even, because he was like going gray all over his head, right? And he had to have a paint job, and he's now like all brunette and all that stuff, right? And I see you, Forster, I see you, mate. Age catches up.
Like that, innit? Like that, innit?
Right, it's fuck's sake.
We're fucked.
Seriously, after that City game, I was seriously hoping that maybe it's like not necessarily a turnaround. I don't expect us to like start winning everything, right? But I expected like good vibes, and maybe we win against Roma because they are like shaky. And maybe we win against Fulham. It's at home. Fulham just lost to Wolves. Like there was some positives to look for, right? And now this fucking bombshell just dropped. And Van de Ven, by the way, he's not going to play on the weekend. I think it's still like a week or 2 away. Romero, we are not sure, right? It's like we don't have 2 center backs. We don't have a goalkeeper. I sincerely fucking hope Udogi is okay, because he was also like, limping off the pitch against City. So I hope Udogi is okay, right? It's like, fuck's sake. we are seriously going to play Archie Gray in goal.
That's what I said, innit? I mean, he seems to be able to play everywhere else, so why not? Fuck it, give him a chance, innit? I mean, really. Now, you know what? And let's try and be slight. I mean, mate, how do I do this? How do I try and be positive about this moment? This is where I need my wife sitting next to me, sort of thing, because like she helps to bring out a more positive side. Some would say I'm a negative person. Call it what you fucking want.
It's realistic. It's not negative. It's realistic, mate.
Yeah,
it's
and like Beth, where are you? She's not home at the moment, so yeah, we're fucked.
If I have like one like hope.
He had a good game in Europe.
Yeah.
He had a good. I mean, it was against Karabag, but he did actually make some good saves. And he actually did make some good saves against Galatasaray as well. And also screwed it up quite nicely as well. It just... What has Ange got to do now with these tactics? If we now go back to this phrase that I'm really not liking, you don't, I know, and a lot of others, but we know what others... The Ange bullshit, we're definitely fucked.
Fuck's sake, mate. It's like...
I know I keep saying the word fucked, but we are.
Yeah. I have one copium, and it's like, I'm coping hard with this, right? So bear in mind, everyone in chat, it's basically like, hope and pray kind of scenario, right? But the way we played against City, right, without like intricate playing out of the back, just I think this performance against City was more like basic. And I think more basic approach suits Forster. I'm not saying like still Vicario is better than him no matter the scenario, right? But I would rather see Forster just boot it out, or like just strip down to like basic passes, right? It's like nothing out of the ordinary, just basic, passing. Then see Forster trying to not make a winger, right? When he's pressing him, like this ain't happening, right? So I just hope we are just to him, right? And this is something I've been saying with different players too, right? And one thing that I was really like pissed off with Ange is that he doesn't like adapt to the players that he has. He doesn't use like players. His
He
players
doesn't play with the cards he's got. Like I said, with
yeah.
a poker in it, it's exactly that.
Yeah, he's like often he has this like image of I want to do this, and he doesn't do what his players wants to do, right? Like we've said with Maddison dropping back, Udogie and Porro playing inverted, like Son playing touchline winger. It was like all over the place, and this like City performance for me was the first time where we actually used players how they should be used, like every single one of them. So I hope when Forster comes in, we use him like he should be used, right? Which is defending set pieces, not allowing opposition to, fire those one-on-one chances near post, and that we don't play out of the back as often and as hard as we do, right? Because we not only play out of the back, we also like invite shitloads of pressure. We wait for the opposition to press us to create overloads, right? But with Forster, I don't think we can do that. So it's like, yeah, I hope we adapt. But as I said, it's a hope. It's not me saying this will happen. It's me hoping this will happen, right? Whether it will, I don't fucking know. It's like,
mate, it's just, innit? I mean, you talk about hope, like hopium.
Yeah, copium.
Yeah, mate, but the only way after that hit, you're going to need some opium, mate. I think it's all right.
Oh, man.
Mate, the shit has hit the fan in a bad way, innit? I mean, he's really going to have to. This is where we're going to see. Can he really adapt? I mean, because I've said I believe he actually did adapt in that Man City game. Because after 15 minutes, we just totally changed the whole scene around. It didn't just look like Man City, because Man City do pressure you into playing that way, yeah? But it didn't just look like that they pressured us so much into that point. I believe they pressured us that much into it. We had to change.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it was that because we changed, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but there were matches where we were pressured like that and we didn't change and we got cooked for it, right? That there were plenty of matches where Brighton,
Ipswich,
like Liverpool away last season, where they pressured the fuck out of us and scored like 4 in the first half or something stupid like that, right? And we didn't adapt, we didn't change, anything, right? And this time, I want to give him credit, right? And it's not like a magnificent, tactical masterclass change, right? He just dropped the line. But this is something we all fucking wanted, right? If to see how the game is going and to actually like make changes based on that, right? Because if we kept, like, I kid you not, after those first 10 minutes, I had in mind after first 10 minutes that if we don't change, we are going to lose this, right? Because it was like Haaland missed like 2 big chances, right? And I think like Foden spanked one over the bar. And I was like, if we don't like change immediately, they will eventually score one of those chances, right? I know Haaland is off form when it comes to finishing, but he ain't going to miss that many chances, right? And we actually did change and it worked, right? Because we didn't like allow them to do this like fast transition, chances. They just were doing like stuff out of like, positional play. But then we had a lot more time to prepare, to defend properly and all that stuff. And we fucking kept a clean sheet. It's like...
And we focused on their middle as well, didn't we? And also, like with Dragusin, the long ball that went straight over to Kulu and then from Maddison, and it went on from there.
Yeah.
We don't usually do that with Ange.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, and there was also that tactic where they was actually playing as fucking centre-backs for a change. When in doubt, kick it out. We've done that plenty of times as well. The wing-backs were overlapping. Only a couple of times did I see mainly Porro come into the middle a bit. And
yeah, I think Porro is way more suited to playing inverted than Udogie. I think Udogie is like, put him out wide, don't involve him in the build-up play or whatever, right? Porro, I think he's technically good enough. And I also think like putting him inverted allows him to take those shots that he sometimes does. Like his shooting is actually pretty fucking good. when you consider everything, right? I think he's shooting better than Johnson and Werner. It's like, I know the bar is not the highest, right? But it's like, I think putting him inverted ain't that bad, right? But yeah, especially one thing you also mentioned, right? I really liked how we focus on their midfield, because like the midfield, they fielded off like Gundogan, Rico Lewis, and Phil Foden. It's not physical. It's not going to press you much. They are a bit slow, especially Gundogan, right? And you can, like, if you watch this game again,
He was bad.
the amount of times where Rico Lewis or Gundogan received the ball and Bissouma and Sarr were on them, like literally, you know, as soon as they received the ball, they were near them and trying to take the ball off them, and to really like through a what's the saying, through a spanner or what was the
spanner
saying?
in the works?
Yeah, spanner in the works, right? It really did that, right? And I actually think we won the midfield battle against them because we focused so much on man-to-man pressing in the midfield. So yeah, as I said it on plenty of shows, I enjoyed the fuck out of that win. And I think this was the best win we've had under this manager, and I'm confident in saying that. It's like,
I think that's the best win we've had in a long time. I must admit,
long time, even like previous managers,
like
right?
years. I didn't even cheer until the third goal. I saw the first one going. I was like, shit. And then, you know, just watched the game. And then the second one in, I was like, wow. Okay. And then we made it to half time. I was like, here we go, sort of thing. Yes, call it negative, but Spurs has had that effect. And just had that effect. And then we got the third goal. I was like, go on, get in there. And then it actually looked like we was going to win it. And then I'm sitting up. Whereas for the whole first half, I was pretty much sitting there like that and just looking at it. 2-0 up. You're just waiting for the shit to hit the fan, basically.
Like I was the same. I was watching this with my girlfriend, right? And after we scored 1-0, she likes to tease me a bit, like, you know, when I'm watching Spurs. And after we scored 1-0, she was like, don't get too excited, right? We scored 2-0, and she was like, oh, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, you know, sitting there like that, shitting bricks in front of the PC, like, you know, in that position, basically like hangover, right? And it's like, fuck, what's going on, right? I couldn't believe it. I told her to pinch me, right? And then the second half comes in, right? And I'm like, no, they will shit themselves. I was telling her, I'm not celebrating. I've seen this team go 2-0 up at the Etihad and lose 4-2. I'm not celebrating. I'm waiting till the final whistle, right? And then the third goal came in, and she's like, come on, like, be happy, right? She's like, be happy, it's 3-0. I'm like, no. The final whistle. I refuse, right? I swear to God, it was like 88th minute, right? Like 7 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go or whatever it was, right? And I was still sitting like that, right? I wasn't fully, you know, sure that we are going to win because I'm so like scared of getting, you know, embarrassed or whatever, right? And then the fourth one came in, and then I like fully went apeshit, right? And I celebrated a lot, not gonna lie, right? But this team just scares you, right? You are fucking 3-0 up in the 85th minute, and you are still like wondering if they are going to somehow, you know, give the lead up, right? So, yeah.
And mate, I can't really answer to anything you've said there because it's just all fact as far as I'm concerned. I mean, yes, some people in life are just more positive, happy-go-lucky, but there is no way I can imagine a single Spurs fan was sitting there at half-time thinking, we've got them. Because if we really want to be really to the point here and just be honest with ourselves here, City's finishing was shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened in that game, the way I read it, was basically we went and done to City what Newcastle, Leicester, even though they didn't win, but Leicester, Palace, I wouldn't say Ipswich because I think they pretty much controlled us overall, but what other teams do to us usually. We get all the shots, not many on target, all the domination, like so people you like to call it, with a possession and that, which was again proved that a lot of us were right that possession don't mean fuck all, but a lot of people still don't seem to believe that. And yeah, I think we basically done to them what a lot of teams do to us.
Yeah.
And they did not take their chances. They're finishing. I mean, Haaland, for me, this is why I say Haaland is. He's a world-class striker. He's a world-class finisher, yes. But to me, he is not a world-class player. because I don't think he's got enough all around him as a player to call him a world-class player. I mean, I'm used to people like calling like world-class people of 20 years ago, which 9 out of 10 players you call world-class now wouldn't even kiss their fucking boots. I mean, and bring Figo back to now, for instance, and now Figo would be God. I mean, look at what he could do in that. What I'm saying is, he's a world-class finisher. No two ways about it. He's a world-class striker. But Harry Kane is a better player all day long, every day.
This was the point I was going to make, right? If you took Kane and put him in the midfield, let's say, as a number 10, right? So play behind the striker, whatever. You could confidently say that he wouldn't be as good as he is playing number 9, but he would still, have an impact on the game, right? His passing is elite. His hold up play is elite. He has amazing vision and all that stuff, right? Imagine Haaland anywhere else on the pitch other than striker, right? Maybe he could be a center back because he's a big lump of shit, right? But other than that, it's he is a striker and he is fucking amazing at it, right? There aren't many more players that are as good at finishing, as physical as him, right? The scariest part for me when I'm looking at him, right, is how big, strong, and fast he is, right? I've seen him plenty of times just demolish center backs who are established, big ass dudes, and he's just brushing them away, right? This is what he's good at, right? But unfortunately, and you can actually even prove this statistically this season, and it's really ironic, after that Arsenal game where he went, stay humble to Arteta, right? After that, he's been hugely underperforming in terms of finishing chances. Because I know people hate XG, right? But I've seen somewhere that since Arsenal, he had almost 9 XG, which would lead to him scoring 9 goals, and he scored 2, right? So he's huge, he isn't putting chances away. And honestly, I think Haaland from the beginning of the season, with some of the chances he got against us, I think he would finish 1 or 2 of them. They weren't the easiest chances, right? But I think he just lacked away. Yeah, he just lacked that elite clinical, last touch, if you get what I mean, right? He's still the shots were still amazing, but Vicario was there, right? And Vicario saved what he had to save, right? But and not only him, Foden, Gundogan, other players, they also underperformed in terms of finishing, right? So I think keeping a clean sheet is amazing, but I think City probably deserve to score 1 or 2 goals if we are honest about it, right?
Yeah, but whether they played poor, whatever, and that we was better than them in pretty much every way. But when you look at stats now, we didn't dominate that game. I mean, some people say we dominated the game. Yes, we scored 4, but if we dominated the game with less possession, less passes, less this, less that, and everything, well, doesn't that then mean that we didn't dominate the game against Newcastle? You see where I'm coming from? Because we done it to our advantage. And now, what I say with Haaland is he's not on form at the moment. You can see that. And as a striker, the reason I don't call him as a world-class player, different from a striker, is because he can't feed himself. He needs to be fed. Harry Kane can feed himself, if people understand where I'm getting at with saying that, yeah? Haaland can't. Without De Bruyne feeding him on that pitch, I wouldn't say he's useless, but he's definitely not even half the player he was. I mean, the way he can play as a striker, he doesn't just... He's like what I call Van der Ven, basically a mutant, for the way he can run. I mean, and then Haaland, the stuff he can do as a striker, it's he doesn't... I mean, he looks like a mutant as well, if we're going to be honest, doesn't he? But he can play like a freak, basically, a freak of nature at how good he is. And he also looks like one. So it matches well with the show as such. But he just weren't on form, and we was quite lucky there. They had chances. They weren't clinical. We were. Now, can you imagine if we'd have played that game with Fraser Forster? I think we would have had a very different story. So, Ian, how are we doing, mate?
All good. You?
I wouldn't go that far, mate. I'm just, let's just say, enjoying the moment.
Yeah, it's typical Tottenham, isn't it? You're basking in the glory of your best win in 2 or 3 years, maybe more, and then you hear Vicario's news. I do think we're jinxed. I seriously think we're jinxed. You know, we get to a Champions League final, first time in our history. They changed the law for the final, the handball law for the final, and the referee gives the most horrendous decision against us in 20 seconds. That's Tottenham, isn't it? That's our club. I just want to come back. Just listening to you guys before, I've got a different take on Saturday's game.
Go for gold.
I think tactically, I think that was arranged during the week. It had to be. It had to be to change a whole system and to carry it off at the Etihad, and win 4-0. You can't just flip it over in 15 minutes. I don't see that. I think they caught us cold on Saturday. I think first 10-15 minutes we had a few issues settling into the new system, but I think after 10-15 I think it was good. It was good. You know, they broke, they had shots, crosses came in, ball came back, Haaland had the shot, Vicario saved. There was another one where Haaland had the ball and I think it was deflected off. His shot was deflected for corner. They weren't attacks like the goals, say, Wolves scored on the break at our place last year, like Arsenal did when the ball was knocked diagonally to Saka and he took on Davis. It was 1-on-1. I just think we settled down. We failed to get to grips with it first 10-15. And then after that, I think domination is the wrong word. I think we controlled the game. What do we have? 42% possession? I saw one figure of 42, one of 47. Either way, they had more of the ball than us, but we controlled it. We never looked in any serious danger. You know, the 10-15 minutes at Leicester, it was backs against the wall. For 10 minutes at United, even when they had 10 men, it was backs against the wall. It was never like that for us on Saturday. After the first 10-15, I thought we were always in control. We never looked rushed. We never looked panicked. We were very organised. There weren't holes and gaps all over the place.
We looked pressured at times. We definitely looked under pressure at times. And I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I do actually think Ange had this pre-prepared. If it's not
definitely,
and
yeah,
amazing. That's what we were saying. That's what me and Mike were both saying.
Yeah,
we were both saying that after 15 minutes, it weren't going his way. So bang, plan B that he'd already planned up over the week.
I don't think so, Dan. I think it was plan B the whole time. I just think they weren't operating it too well in the first 10-15 minutes. I just think it was a bit just, you know, they haven't played that way before. You know, you go out.
Okay, I suppose that's a fair enough point of view. It is an opinionated decision, so
yeah.
I don't think it was quite that way, but I could quite easily believe it. Same as others could easily believe that City made us play that way because they do.
Well, listen, that's also.
But we didn't have the inverted wing backs. We didn't.
No,
we weren't pushing up so high, but that's because they don't give you the chance to push so high.
Yeah, I just
There's loads of ways you can throw it around, and you won't know it until the next games, will you?
Yeah.
But now the other issue is now we are absolutely, completely, utterly foobarred, where we haven't, you know, like fucked up beyond all recognition. If anyone remembers what film that's out of, just a question for everyone. Obviously, I do. Where do we go now? Because my man has to adapt big time. Because if we go back to playing our usual way, we are gonna get abused.
Well, you've got 5 games. I think you've got 5 games at least till Mickey comes back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's back till they were talking about mid-December, and that's Southampton. So, you know,
it's look, what I'm saying is, I mean, what is your idea for this one then, Ian? What is your plan for this? Because like I'm saying, if we go back to pressing high line and inverted, by the end of 2 or 3 games, I think Fraser Forster's going to need a social worker, if you get what I mean.
I don't think he can he? Forster's not got Vicario's pace, so he's.
Oh right, I'm sorry. I thought you meant social worker. He can. Anyway, go on. I was being sarcastic, mate.
No, I know. I think he's got to change the whole thing because he doesn't have Vicario, Romero, and Mickey. So, you know.
Yeah, I agree. He has like just logic implies that he has to adapt, right? It's logical to change like small things to not get cooked like that, right? Because like how should I put it? It's like definition of insanity would be to play a high line without Mickey and Vicario, right? That's like a definition of insane, basically, right? Like he has a UEFA Pro license, right? He has to realize that Forster is a much different keeper than Vicario, right? And I'm not even talking about playing out of the back, right? Because he may want to play out of the back, right? Which unfortunately, like Forster will have to also adapt a bit to that, right? Which probably will bite us in the ass. I reckon we lose like a couple of goals from getting pressed while playing out of the back, right? With loose passes and all that stuff. But the highline thing, like Forster can't play it. He's too slow. Like it's physically impossible, right? They will knock a ball past our defense, and the winger that just runs through, and no one
just
will
look
be able
over it, wouldn't he?
yeah, no one will be able to challenge the wingers, right? Because other than Udogi, I don't think we have like a speedster in that back line. And what? It's a one-on-one with like acres of space. It can be, right? He has to drop a bit. That's how I look at it.
100%. I mean, with comment here mapping, she should still play his way and install his philosophy. Well, do you know something we don't know? Maybe it was just a misprint, whatever, and that. But no beef. Each their own at the end of the day, whatever turns you on. And if Ange's got something to say, I'm sure he will say it and come out that closet when he wishes to, or he will just, I don't know, that's maybe he has a more motherly effect on them off the pitch and a fatherly effect on them on the pitch. Who knows? I mean, what goes on in this world, you wouldn't put nothing past nothing, i.e. like you wouldn't put nothing past Spurs winning 4-0 at City and then getting their goalkeeper fucked over for 4 months. So, Ian, what has he got to do, mate? What have we got to do?
Well, I think he's got to go long. He's got to play Solanke now from the back. You know, much less of the building out from your own area. You've got a more than capable target man at centre forward. You play Solanke and let him bring players in, and he'll bring players into play much higher up than messing about in your own box. So it could be a good thing. That could be a positive to take out of it. There aren't many positives to take out, but if it means they start hitting Solanke long, that's what they should have done in the first place.
I mean, it's frustrating, this whole thing. I mean, James, how you doing, mate?
All right, mate. Got a bit of man flu, but all right.
A bit of man flu, so that means you're out for about 3 weeks, yeah?
3 months.
My one usually only lasts 2 weeks. You know, curl up in bed, get me pajamas on. Mrs. goes down the shop. Old school Lucozade. Why don't it come in a glass bottle anymore? I don't know. Don't have the same effect in the plastic one, but yeah. And put your feet up and just make sure you don't watch Tottenham play, because otherwise you get more ill. And what the hell are we gonna do with Vicario being out?
No idea. I mean, he's one of my players of the season. I think he's quality. So I think we're in trouble. I really do think we're in trouble. He gets a lot of stick for not being able to pass out from the back, apparently. But when you actually look at his pass success rate, I think you'd be surprised. He's actually really good, in my opinion. So I think we're going to struggle. In my opinion, you might as well bring one of the kids in, one of the younger lads, rather than go for a Foster or Forster.
Well, the other problem is we got other goalkeepers there, but they're 25, 26, like I said earlier, or 24, 25, whatever it is. Yeah. And they're still in the under-21s team.
Well,
there's a reason.
Dan, I would play Gunter, who is so highly
rated.
He's
the youngest one, isn't he? He's the youngest one.
No, he's not. Keely, I think Keely's the youngest.
Yeah,
he's
on loan, isn't he?
He's at Orient.
Yeah.
He's at Orient.
Yeah.
Gunter's had such rave reviews. I would throw him in. I'd throw him. I'm not talking about a Premier League game. I'm talking about a European game. I put him in.
Don't see why not.
To be honest, because like many people were saying that Forster will play against Roma, I would actually play either like as much as I would like to see the kid from the academy, the Gunter, right? Gunter, however you pronounce his surname. I think like Austin and Whiteman are ahead of him in the pecking order. Yes. But I would actually like to see one of them against Roma instead of Vicario, because I think I don't know. I would like to see one of them play more than 45 minutes of preseason, right? I would actually like to see them in a competitive environment where it actually matters what they do, right? Because they can fuck up how much they want in the preseason, right? If preseason doesn't matter, you don't play for points, you don't play for anything, right? But I would like to see one of them in a competitive environment. And if it doesn't work against Roma and they fuck up, I think Roma are like shaky and wobbly. I would still like bet on us getting some result, considering it's at our ground, and then maybe play Forster on the weekend, right? Or if one of the kids, I mean, they are fucking 1 year younger than me. That's not a kid, right? That's a male adult, right? If one of those guys is actually good and performs well against Roma, then there is a case to play them against Fulham, right? But you have to give them a chance to prove themselves, right? Because if we just drop Forster in and play him for the next 3 months, we don't even know if Austin and Whiteman can do anything, right?
The thing is, with Forster, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that is a fridge. And he will make a good save here and there. I think he could be possibly better in the set piece situation if it comes down to the physical side of it.
Yeah.
But if someone even puts it into the bottom left or whatever, Vicario, we know he's got the capability of getting there. Forster, he's just going to look, and I think his brain will react before his body, and he'll probably dive once it's gone in the back of the net. So that's how I just really don't rate this goalkeeper. I mean, James, what has Ange got to do here? Surely he's got to change his tactics and prove that this weren't just a fluke against City, that he done it, and that he's going to have to adapt. He's surely going to have to adapt here and play with the cards he's got. Pull his finger out his arse and not just say, right, I'm going back to this way. He's going to have to truly adapt here.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, maybe wishful thinking, but the only thing I could think of is before we went on to, before we played City, before International, he kind of said, didn't he, I need to look at myself and see what works and what doesn't work. So I think I speak for us, most Spurs fans, and say, I hope he's actually realised where we was getting beat, how we was getting beat, and just tweak. He doesn't need to be all systems go and all defend. Just drop, like we said earlier, one midfielder drop in between the lines to stick out for the back line, and get the fullbacks overlapping. I think that if you had, or definitely Porro has to overlap. If you have Porro overlapping, then Kulu can play right inside forward, and I think that is probably his best position. Like not winger, not midfielder, sort of the free role cutting inside. So hopefully he's learned. That's all we can say, really, isn't it? Hopefully.
I mean, I think he's going to have to do a little bit more than tweak, because I mean, we usually play, they say a 4-3-3, but to an extent, it's more of a 4-2-3-1 at times. Yeah. I think now is the time where he's going to have to drop it back. I think he's going to have to play with fullbacks more than wing backs. Totally forget the inverted side of it. And this is where we got to almost, I think, take away the attacking midfielder up front and bring it back to an out-and-out DM. Whether we have to stick Basuma there, whether we have to stick Sarr there, whether Archie Gray actually gets a look at playing football there, I think we need that DM there now more than ever. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay, fair enough.
No, for sure. I mean, there wasn't tweaking on Saturday, James. It was a major system change that was, and it worked. You know,
yes and no. It was just drop the back line and stop the inverted, and then everyone just sit 5 yards deeper, including the midfields. It's not.
But you
for
know
me,
what was, you know
that's
what was
tweaking.
better?
It's not like he's changed and gone to like 3 at the back, or
No,
he
no,
hasn't
no.
changed nothing dramatic. So for me,
James, at times we played with 3 at the back.
yeah,
When the
yeah.
wing backs went
He's got the
forwards, we actually
midfielder.
had one of the DM come back and cover with 3 at the back.
Yeah,
That's a
The
massive change. Massive.
one thing that
And the
was
ball's
better-
going direct and over. We don't usually do that shit. Sorry, Ian, go on.
The one thing that was massively different on Saturday, that was such an improvement on the rest of the season, was the pressing. I thought it was terrific. We gave them no space. You know, when Haaland dropped back, Dragusin went with him. And, you know, the guy wasn't allowed to turn. They couldn't, and, you know, and because of the pressing, they couldn't thread balls through for Haaland. And he was pretty non-existent after 15 minutes. So for me, that was another plus. You know, because the pressing's been average this season. You know, you can't have you got Solanke doing a great job, and he covers a lot of ground, closes down. But if people don't support him, it's just a waste of time. They just play round him.
I agree, and I think that's where Kulu helped out.
Yeah,
Kulu's got the legs. For me, it was Solanke and Kulu pressing. I think Son could have done a bit more pressing, but yeah, this is where. Let's be honest. I don't think Ange has done a horrific job so far. I've seen glimpses of moments where I think this could work. The problem is I've seen so many bad ones where I think you're so far off of it. If he could tweak the bad ones to sort of getting draws or a win here or there, we'd be in a good position. But it's whether he's, well, like we've been saying, it's whether he's prepared to say, you know what, I'm going to adapt this here, and the basis of what I do is good. To make it great, I need to drop 10 yards. I need to adapt to my midfielders slightly deeper. The wingers need to, or fullbacks need to overlap if they're going to go forward. If they do that, then who knows? But also, the thing for me is, I think that the players have kind of said to him, "Listen here, this isn't working for me, and if it doesn't change, then I want to leave." And on that note, I think that he must have got it in the neck from Levy. We know how involved Levy is, the players. But I'd have liked to think even like the assistant managers and the coaches back staff said, look, like, let's try dropping it 10 yards. Let's see what happens if we do this or overlap.
And you
Because
really
surely,
think Ryan Mason did that?
No, but who knows? Well, I know it's Matt Wells that's above Ryan Mason, and it's what's the new guy that's come in?
Mike Montgomery.
Montgomery. But they can't all sit there as a sinking ship and just go, let's keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. Because if it does, then where are we going to end up? Where are they going to end up? Let's face it. Like, Ryan Mason is struggling to get a job. If he keeps sitting there saying yes, 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 it don't look very good on him.
We're going to have to definitely do something. And I mean, for me, this is a time to definitely go 3 at the back without a doubt. But we know he won't quite do that. But again, I don't even think we should be using wing backs now. We should be using fullbacks and centre backs through and through. I think we are going to have to significantly drop back and go back to more of a bit of an old-fashioned way, which it looked like we did in some ways. And that's use the long ball a lot better and try and use the pace up the sides and up the middle. Because we did actually do that. That's how Dragusin set up the start of the first goal. And when do we usually get a centre back, boot it right up the middle down the other end? We don't. When do we usually play as direct as we did against City? We don't. We usually press in their half as well, as much as we can, even when we're getting cooked. We didn't. Few times, yes, but majority of the time, City was in our side of the pitch all day long. I mean, on the stats and everything, you would say they dominated us. On the goals, we were just fucking clinical. He's really got to adapt here. And for me, well, this is his time to prove himself more than ever now. I'm sure it wasn't an instant he wanted. None of us did.
Yeah. So sort of like changing it up, do you think he will adapt?
If it was really him that did that on Saturday with City, if it was really him that done that, then he's got no excuse. None at all. Now, if I am to believe and back this manager up a bit, like I have done, and everyone knows I am not his fan, yeah, that he did this on Saturday. If he doesn't now fucking adapt to the next 10 games where we've got a tree in goal, a fridge, I'm going to want this fella out even more. Now, if he does adapt, and you can blatantly see he's adapting to it, trying to help, trying to save the keeper as such, and we get smashed in 5-6 of those games, I'm actually going to have a bit of leeway on him. Like, you know what, mate? You got Fraser Forster in goal. You're fucked if you do. You're fucked if you don't, basically. But if I see him go back to his old ways, when we got Fraser Forster sitting in goal, I want that man gone tomorrow. That's just my take on it. I mean, how do you agree, Steve?
Yeah, so do you think he will adapt? And then I've got like a following. Do you think that he's going to go with his system again, or do you think he's going to go back to what he was doing?
That's what I'm basically asking you lot.
Okay.
I think he will. I don't think he's got a choice.
I personally think he's going to go back to what he was doing, but with a slight tweak here or there.
Really?
With what you said there, Dan. So, say for example, and Ian and Michael, if he does adapt how he did, and you can see visibly the lines deeper, they're overlapping, but we lose the next 4 or 5, or draw and win, or would you then go, you know what, he's trying new things, I'm going to still give him the time? Or would you go, you cannot keep losing these games, we need to go?
If you listen to everything I just said, that is exactly what I just said, basically. That if I see him doing the adapting, not even necessarily using the wing-backs as wing-backs, but trying to use them as full, either way, bringing it back significantly, and I see that he's trying to do that to cover our fridge in goal, I'm going to give him a bit more time in the aspect of, right, he's showing he can adapt. It wasn't just a fluke one-off. He's actually got a football brain on his head, not just one way. He can actually play with the deck of cards he's bloody got, which at the moment isn't great on it. And we go and lose 5 out of the next 8 games. No, I'm not going to be happy, but I'm going to sit there and just think, what could any manager really do except stick 3 or 5 in front of the bloody goalkeeper? They are going to, every team is now going to look at that and go long shots to the corners, to everything, shoot, non-stop. And if I see that he's actually trying to defend our keeper, there's only so much he can do. I'll give him a bit of time because it's Fraser Forster in goal, isn't it? Whereas if he just goes back to playing Ange ball, then I want him gone tomorrow because then it just shows to me that he ain't got a fucking clue. I mean, Ian, what do you reckon on that, Mike?
That's what I said the other night, Sunday night. I said, you know, having pulled off. I mean, he schooled Pep on Saturday, didn't he? He gave Pep a lesson, and not many managers say that. So to actually achieve the heights, both for himself and the team, to then go back to a system that hasn't worked, and it hasn't. You know, last 12 months, we're averaging 1.45 points a game. You know, we win one, lose one. You know, which is average. So, you know, the first 10 games for me was an anomaly. We caught everybody cold, and then things settled down. Unfortunately, you know, we got injuries and suspensions from the Chelsea game. But, you know, everybody gets injuries and suspensions. But now's the time he's got to adapt. You know, we're not the only team with an injured goalkeeper. I think Ederson missed a few games last year. Alisson's been out, for a month or 2 already?
But they got a bloody good second goalkeeper. I think Liverpool's second goalkeeper's good enough to challenge Vicario for the first keeper.
Absolutely. You know,
not saying he's better, but I think he could challenge him all the way.
And I think Liverpool bought the Georgian boy. Is it Marmashvili? Marmashvili, I think it is. And they've loaned him to Valencia. You know, I'd like to see Kelleher come, but he's only going to come at this stage of his career. He's only going to go somewhere for guaranteed first team football.
Yeah.
But listen, we don't need him because we got some great kids coming through. You know, and why block the pathway for them? You know, I'll be throwing Gunter into the odd game now, definitely. You know, if Foster gets injured, you haven't got anybody there that's played Premier League football to step in. Nobody.
I think goalkeeper's got to be one of the easiest roles to step into for me. Because for a goalkeeper, okay, your tactics are save the bloody ball. Okay, the tactics might be come out past the ball more, whatever, and that. But for me, a goalkeeper is the most simple place to play on the pitch. I used to play as a goalkeeper before I played in defensive midfield. And it is quite a simple job to an extent. Yes, it's got harder having to be a sweeper keeper. But this, again, is where Ange is going to have to adapt and not play with so much of a sweeper keeper, because that's one thing that Forster ain't, and have the defence covering back more and almost go back to a bit of an old school way of playing your goalkeeper. If he wants to get the best out of the keeper he's got.
If he expects that from Forster, I don't think he's going to get it. And he may be forced into a change. You know, like when Pep came, Joe Hart was playing brilliantly, but he didn't play the way Pep wanted. Hart was gone, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same thing might happen. You know, he might bring in one of the kids who has been schooled in playing out from the back, because that's how that's how the under-21s play. So one of the kids may be brought in, although he is very, very cautious when Ange, when it comes to team selection. There's no risks with him, are there?
Very rare.
I think it's very easy to say put a kid in, but if a kid makes a mistake as a goalkeeper, the whole world's going to be saying he's made that mistake, he's cost us that goal. It's quite a lot to take at a young age, especially if you're talking like 18, 20. For me, if you kind of concede a goal, all the limelight is on that keeper for making that mistake. So it's got to be quite careful.
So you're saying, James, play Forster till Vic's fit?
I would play Brandon Austin, because I think he's better with his feet than Forster, and I wouldn't put him down as the kid. You know, I'm talking about like is it Kelleher?
He's like 25.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'd play him over the two young lads, the one that's Orient and the 18-year-old. That's for me, because I think he's better with his feet. And like I said, I believe if you throw an 18-year-old in there and they make a few mistakes, it could really do damage to like future rather than nursing them through.
I think you could say that about any young player, though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could, but in my opinion, when a striker misses an open goal or controls the ball, it's not as bad as sort of letting one slip through your legs or something, like a proper howler as a keeper, in my opinion. Because you could if you say if we're 1-0 up and he makes two mistakes at the end or one mistake at the end and it's 0-0, you could lose the game and knock us out of Europa League. So it's quite a lot.
Goalkeeper is way more on the spotlight, right?
That's what I mean.
Anyone else, pretty much. Yeah, but this is unfortunately the situation we found ourselves in, right? And the club has to fucking do something about it, right? The club and he as a manager, right? Because I include the club in it, right? Because the club, the whole club decided that we are fine with Vicario and Forster, right? And if Forster doesn't work, then it means they didn't do their job properly, and then they will have to, like, you know, repair that situation in the January window, right? But I'm not sure what can be done in the January window, because I don't know if you guys heard at the beginning, I said to Dan that I've looked through the like free transfer keepers, right? The free players that, you know, that aren't contracted, and that there isn't anyone like noteworthy out there, you know, who doesn't. It's not like, you know, because David De Gea was available for a year, right? I maybe would take I would definitely take David De Gea, right? But the only ones were like Keylor Navas and Loris Karius. It's the only two I knew, and other than that, it's like, you know, guys that didn't really have a career. So it's like, how much do we want to risk it, right?
What about, obviously, I don't know the exact sort of dates, that's why I'm kind of asking, but what about like MLS, Hugo back or something on loan? Do they not finish January time, or is it later?
I think he's finished. I think he may be finished.
Yeah, I think that league is finished now.
Could we do something? I mean, I'm just picking Hugo because it's the only one I know in that league. But
clutching at straws, basically, like the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know MLS, so I have no idea. But in that circumstance, could it be something like that?
Is that not a backward step?
Yeah, but I'm more thinking I'm more sort of trying to think how the club are probably thinking, and they're thinking, say 8 to 10 weeks he's out, for example.
It could be.
You know,
It could be 4 or 5 months. This.
yeah, exactly.
anything
So
up to
I
20
think it all
weeks.
depends. It depends on how long, obviously. Because if say I saw quite a few saying 8 to 10 weeks. If that's the case, you're going to be back the end of sort of January anyway, and we know what the club's like. They'll go, "Oh, he's back. It's just a few more games. We'll see how we get on." But ideally, we would want to go out and buy a proper backup keeper. But again, comes the problem of Foster's English, or I think he might be a homegrown. Austin's homegrown. Whiteman's homegrown. So he's going to have to be homegrown.
Well, the thing is with it as well is I do believe we need that second keeper anyway, and it's on a fucking plate there. And I would rather that in January we actually went out and got a goalkeeper that can at least not be backup, but challenge Vicario for that first spot. Because there has been times where he's had a few shaky games back to back. Yes, good shot stopping, but he's looked very erratic in other places. And we need someone there who can at least challenge him for his place.
I think now we're going to realise how good he was. I think now we will realise how good he actually was and how much he talks, how much he's kind of pushes the team forward a little bit. I think now he's gone, we're going to go, shit, he would have saved that or he would have done that. The Galatasaray game was prime example for me. That first goal was a great strike, but I think Vicario saves it. So it's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're now going to miss him more than we probably know. Big up, Alex.
Like one of them players, you notice him more when he's off the pitch than on the pitch as such. Like a bit of a Kulusevski is how I rate Kulusevski.
Agreed, yeah.
I think you notice him more when he's actually off the pitch.
I
mean, no matter what, you're going to notice. No one that I've heard has said Vicario is a shit goalkeeper, yeah? He's not. He's just not a great all-round goalkeeper. He still has a lot to learn as a goalkeeper. This is why I still say Raya, Alisson, Edison, even Nick Pope are better overall goalkeepers than Vicario. But when it comes to shot stopping, personally, I think he's only second to Alisson. And I think as an overall keeper, he's up there with basically Nick Pope, that sort of level. And personally, I think Nick Pope is a very underrated keeper. But again, it's opinion. Mm-hmm. We need to go and get a goalkeeper now that can either take that first place or fighting for that first place so that he knows if he screws up 2 games on the trot, next goalkeeper can just come in and take his place.
Our whole transfer plan should always be the same thing. It shouldn't be let's buy a backup. It should always be let's buy somebody to take that first role rather than a backup, in my opinion. It should always be that.
Alex has always preached that since I've known him on here, and he's the one who got me thinking like that as well. I don't even like the phrase of speech as a backup player anymore, and that's your fucking fault, Alex. But anyway, mate, how you doing?
So this is going to be short and sweet. You know what I mean? Because I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time, like every single time, and that's it. Mr. Botsoff is back in the building again. Yeah, because this fan base fueled him up and then get him back in the building every single time. Honestly, I'm sorry. I'm hearing excuses already for this manager again. Yeah, because every single time I hear it, yeah, excuses come out for this manager. It's our fault for this squad problem right now. Our fault. Yeah, if we're going to hear the same thing, I hear the same thing. Yeah, for our Man City. Yeah, Rodri. Yeah, he's got injured. That's Man City's fault for not getting a replacement for him. Make sure they got players for him right now. Yeah, right. If they do, it's really important. Now I'm hearing the excuses. Yeah, they know who they are. They know who they are. Yeah, because they know where to find me. Yeah, I love them. But Brian, Ben, coffee shop, my gosh, the excuses I heard earlier. And they know where to find me. Sorry, I'm not breaking up because I love them as people. But you know, if you want to debate Mr. Bot's office, I've heard that rubbish from them telling me, "Oh, we've got to park Ange. We've got to park Ange now." Honestly, where are we going with this? I'm sorry. The excuses. I'm sorry. This is excuses. I'm not having it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sorry. We knew from the very day dot. When the season started, what did they say? Oh, we love our squad. Oh, no, we've got a brilliant squad here. No, don't worry about it. No, we worried about it. What did Mr. Box Office tell you on my channel? I said it was a big mistake. Look what's happened right now. Look what's happened right now. And now people are making excuses saying, oh, no, we don't want to. No, let's park our agendas for this manager now. Let's park our agendas for our manager now. Yeah? Park our agendas for the manager. And now let's start supporting the team. Come on. No.
Well, Alex, this is where we see how much can this man adapt, because he's going to have to totally pretty much change his whole game.
I agree.
To defend the goalkeeper.
It's just the excuses for this manager. It's just too much. It's like, let him prove himself in. Yeah? Good on him. He did what he did against Man City. Yeah? Done with that now. Moved on. You know what I mean? Done with it. Completely done with it now. You know what I mean? Because it's not that I've seen it before anyway. You know what I mean? Another one that makes excuses, we make excuses for, Kulu. Honestly, the most amount of Tottenham fans have to big up this absolutely over-the-top player. Honestly. Again, whole season, second season, then we'll see whether he's a great player or not. You know what I mean? But honestly,
Alex,
the excuses for this manager is atrocious. Honestly. You know what I mean? I swear, this fan base gives you so much content. It's unbelievable. It's on the lap, for goodness sake. You might as well give it to your lap, and that's it. Back to you. I'll give it to you, James, to say what you need to say.
I've got a question for you, if that's okay.
Go on.
Beginning of the season and last season, you said you'll back Ange when we get to a sticky point, and then the club come out and back him. Was it something like that? You said.
Fair
so
enough,
you said
yeah.
that. Would so. Just ask. Again, I'm not digging on anything. If he comes through this bad point and starts pushing on a little bit, and Levy sticks with him, would you start then to sort of back him, like you were saying, or?
To be honest with you, I'm not really impressed. I don't really like his football, James. I don't think he's. I'm just not there with him at the moment. I've got to be honest. You are right. I'll give it to you. Don't get used to it. But you are right. I did say what I said, and at the moment, this is why I don't really talk about Levy. This is why I don't talk about Levy, because at the moment, I think they're so in tune right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
No, that's why I thought I'd ask, because if Levy does back him now and say, you know, you're the guy, we're going to take us forward. Obviously, that's what you was asking for. I was asking for. A lot of us was actually asking for. So in that way, and this is why personally, I think it's catch-22, because you can either blame Ange for what he's doing, but then people say he's been backed. So then, if he's been backed, you can't blame Levy anyway. So Levy's done his part, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, but that's why you don't really see me talk about Levy anymore. You don't hear me talk about Levy anymore. It's more about the manager now, and Lohan Lang, who I do not rate, by the way. Still, I do not rate, and I'm still saying, but I have to apologise to people now, because I slated Paratici. I'd rather have him back at my club now. It's embarrassing, James. I had to do it with Harry Winks. I had to do it with Ben Davis. I had to do it with all those players. I had to apologise to David Harris, because I'm going to say his name, because I had to do it. I had to do it politely to him. Yeah, because we were arguing about him all day long, and that's it. And I don't like apologising, but I had to apologise. And now I'm actually saying I'd rather have Paratici back at my club. That is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. I think Gabardini.
I would have rather he didn't go.
Pardon?
I'd have rather Paratici didn't left. I thought he made some very good signings.
I know. Well, after Johan Lang,
cool though, wasn't it? I think Daniel Levy had his arms tired a bit there. Yeah, because I was the same. I thought Paratici. Well, from what we've seen, Paratici's light years ahead of Lange. From what we've seen.
I think I'm light years ahead of Lange from what we've seen. I mean, you could go on fucking Football Manager and probably do a better job than that prick.
Like I said, Asthmatic, on every Tuesday night on Spurs Kings TV gets me players for free. Every Tuesday night. I'm sorry, it's excuses, and he doesn't get paid for it. I'm sorry. I don't even need to say anymore, to be honest with you.
You have a wonderful way with words, Alex. With that,
By the way, there's no against. I love Brian and Ben as characters. By the way, as people, it's just football. This is just football, by the way, and they know it.
I know exactly what you meant, mate.
You know what I mean? It's I always open to debate me. That's what I'm saying, because I'm not here. When I call people out, I say you come and debate me. That's it. Sorry, that's not having
it's
to go.
Like
so.
what Kevin says here, Kevin Ferguson. You need to speak about Levy as he has the money. No, not for me. Not this one. This one ain't down to Levy.
I personally still think it's down to Levy, because
didn't the manager get to pick his players in?
Yeah, no. I agree.
So this manager should not have sat there and thought, well, if I know goalkeepers don't get injured so much, but if my goalkeeper gets done for say 3 weeks, 3 months, I've got Fraser Forster back there.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
I don't think that one's so much on Levy, personally.
Well, for me, it's a matter of upgrading the squad. And I know a lot of people go, he's been back. But if you actually look at the net spend, I think I saw Ian talk about it the other day, and then I actually looked into it myself. If you actually look at his net spend and the amount he saved on wages, if that's what you call backing, in my opinion, then we are where we should be.
It's about 60 million in 3 transfer windows.
Yeah, he spent something stupid like 60 million.
That's the net spend. When Ange came in last
and
summer,
I think he's saved about 55 million in wages, I think.
Something like that.
I think it's more than that. I think it's more like 65, 70 from what I've
heard. That's what I mean.
But some maybes.
Exactly. So he saved all of that money in wages, and he's only spent 60, which is probably made back in wages. I don't personally think that's backing in a manager, in my opinion, but that's just me.
I must tell you, James, in 3 transfer windows, take out Solomon that was a free and Werner that were on 2 loans. He's made 11 buys. That's it. He's spent, starting with Maddison, then Mickey, then Johnson in the summer, then what do you call it, Dragusin and Werner, and then the rest in the and the other 6 in the this summer. He spent 282 million. He's got 175 million back, I think, on Kane, Winks, Sanchez, Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Skip, and Emerson. So his net spend there has been 107. And if you're talking about a 65 million saving on wages, just say, give or take, then you're looking at just over 40 million over 3 windows. So it's not a question that the failing has been in the failing hasn't been in buying good youngsters. The failing has been not replacing established professionals to make sure the squad is strong enough. That's the problem.
I think that you're spot on. That is true. Here, by the way.
Yeah, it's very true, and that's why a lot of people went on one about 40 mil on Archie Gray. We need someone for the game now. Yeah. I'm not going to go.
Absolutely.
I think Archie Gray is the right signing, but he's only the right signing if you're bringing in a Zubimendi, in my opinion.
Yeah,
something like that as an example.
You're right, and it's no one has ever disputed that he's a bad player. I'm not going to go into that one. Fuck that for Game of Soldiers.
No, but
I can't be bothered with that. No,
Ian, find out where you live.
No, don't.
Ian will find out where you live if you start slating Gray.
I don't want to hear about it.
No, I'm just talking about kids and established. That's I just used Gray. You could have used Bergveld.
I know.
You could have used Overbear.
Being sarcastic,
could have used any of them. He bought Veliz. He's bought the new Korean buy there. There's 5 kids, and Phillips is 6. So he's brought in 6 kids.
And the other centre back, what's the guy in Belgium? Is he in Belgium?
No, he was done before Ange. That was done because this is his 2nd year on loan. That was done. Paratici did that, I think.
Okay.
And I've got to agree with Alex. Paratici is different league to Lange. You had Paratici, Gabbianini, and Steinson as a team. He got rid of Gabbianini to bring in Lange. Steinson went as well. Steinson was brilliant at dealing with the kids' parents, with the academy, and he found himself with. Paratici brought in. Look at the deals he brought in: Vicario for 16 million. Udogi for 17 million, Bentancur for 16 million. These are steals. These are absolute steals. They got Basuma for 25 because he only had a year left. You know, so people talk about okay, well, I think Richarlison was a club buy, and I think that was about 48.50 because the rest were add-ons. So, Perisic bought very, very well. He's got a great network in Italy. They were all coming across from Italy as well. Lange has got his strength, I think, in Scandinavia, hence the Bergvall deal. And Barcelona after Bergvall, but you can't turn around and say the kid's a mug if Barca want, because then you're saying that Barca are a mug. So, and then
it's all just down to that fact again of being ready to play. Look, what the hell do we do with this? Right, we got a question here. John Lee, super chat. Thanks, mate. It's appreciated. Panel, I have questions. What do you think? What do you think our season without Vic this season and Europa League? The way I take that question is, what do you think this season's going to do without Vicario? Basically, that's how I've taken the question. Unless someone else can translate that for me.
I think we're going to let in a little bit more goals. To be honest with you, I think we're letting in a few more goals.
Just a few.
A
few hundred.
Listen, I'm sticking by what I say. It was impressive defensive performance by Davis and Dragosin, who need to play tomorrow. Need to play on Thursday, by the way. I don't really care whether they've got to play a couple of other games. I don't really care, because as far as I'm concerned, we've got to do the same system that we did against Man City. That's the best way we play, as far as I'm concerned, right? And that's good. I think that's the only way to protect the goalkeeper. We need to keep it tight. And if the games are boring, it's boring. I'm sorry, we've got to play like Leicester City were when they won the Championship, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I think that's the way we do things now. I don't enjoy that. But for me, I think this situation gets worse if we do Ange ball. I think it gets much worse. Sorry to go further on.
Without that, no, I'm agreeing, mate. If we go back to that way, then we are really screwed.
The injuries get worse, and base yourself, because Kula will play on Thursday, and look how much mileage he's doing right now. Yeah, because everyone's twerking for him right now because he's our best player supposedly. Yeah, so you wait till the fan base say that, because people say, unfortunately, Dan, people are calling us melts. Yeah, we're having meltdowns, Dan, even though we've been consistent, by the way.
No love lost.
So, which is a joke, and I'm not having a go at you, James. I'm not having a go at you, Mikel, and I'm definitely not having a go at you, Nian, because you turn up. You all turn up. So, but in the day, I think for me at the moment, we just got to stick to the whole system as far as I'm concerned, and I do absolutely agree with you. For this guy that gets so much excuses. If he goes back, he's silly. He's very silly, because the players can only play one way. You know what I mean? They can only play a certain way to adapt, and that's it for me.
So, okay, but where do you think this season is going to go, basically, without Vicario, and how's the Europa going to go? Because he could be out for anything from 2 to 4 months, depending on. Like I said earlier, if it is a fracture, that can be worse than a break. As long as it's not a splinter break, then it's easier to actually heal a break than it is a fracture. And so he could be out from 2 months at best to 4 to 5 months at worst, from what people have been saying. So round it off at, let's say, 3 months. Where does our season go, and where does the Europa go without Vicario for that long? I mean, we don't know. Even if we will get a new goalkeeper in January, you'd have thought anyone with any fucking common sense would do it. But this is Spurs we are talking about.
Well, if we get top 8 in Europe, then Vicario comes back end of February. He comes back for the last 16. But let's get through that. I think it's March the 1st. I'm sure it's 1st and 2nd week of March. I think for the last 16. In which case, if it is end of Feb, where are we now? End of November. So if he's out for 14 weeks, then he's back for the Europa. So we've got to make sure we get top 8. Otherwise, he could well miss the playoff for the last 16.
This is why I said, when everybody was telling me about the Ipswich game and play the youth against Galatasaray, this is exactly the reason why I said play your strongest team in Europe. Get through in Europe, and then play all your kids.
But
Because
James,
now,
in fairness, nobody expected your keeper to get a broken ankle, did you?
no, but this is why, in my opinion, how I would do it is I would make sure I qualify, win every game possible as soon as possible, and then you have the option to rotate. Or if someone gets injured, it's not as big of a deal. Now we threw that game away, in my opinion, against Galatasaray. Now we're at that point where we've got Rangers away and Roma at home, and we have to win those.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't. I honestly don't see any reason why we can't.
Well, we're not going to be able to put a full team with them now. You've got to remember the fact that we've got Fraser Forster in goal now. We have to play a different way. Otherwise, we're going to get absolutely cooked. We have to do it. There is no way.
And by the way, we've got lucky against some of the other games, by the way. In the first couple of games, we got lucky.
Whether it's lucky, whatever, the point is, at the end of the day now, we've got Fraser Forster in goal, and we cannot play. I just cannot see us being able to even get anywhere with playing our usual way with Ange. It's back to the square one again of where I keep saying he needs to adapt now more than ever to cover this goalkeeper till at least January. And that's going to be about, 10 games?
10 games. That's 10 matches. Till 10 matches, starting with Roma, finishing with Wolves. So we've got, what do we got? How many home games have we got? We've got Roma, Fulham, Chelsea, 3, United 4, Liverpool 5, Wolves 6. We've got 6 home games and 4 away.
Ian, all I can say is to you right now, December and January, I've done it on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV. It's bad. That schedule is hard.
Yeah, but it's now
complaining right now.
Games, I think.
We're complaining right now about injuries, about schedules. You wait and see what that schedule's like. We got to play.
I'll get it. Hang on, I'll get it.
Weekend, and then the week, and then weekday. You know what I mean?
Oh, the whole
2 days
the whole
a week.
Time. Yep.
Whole time. Even Christmas.
Oh, it's a horrible set we've got, and Christmas is always a bastard for every team out there. Yeah, usually everyone comes out with a break or two, but the whole point goes back to we've got Fraser Forster in goal now. Even if the rest of the team is fully fit, we still cannot go back to playing that psychotic, suicidal high line. Anyone with even the slightest common sense about football, and you don't have to be a professional manager to see this, surely can see that we cannot do that. We cannot afford to do that. I mean, what are the games coming up now? I mean, I know we got Fulham next, Roma next, then Fulham.
You got Bournemouth next after that because that's a midweek game. And then I can't remember the games. I think Liverpool's coming up soon after. No, it's Chelsea. I think after that.
Well, Chelsea, you can write that off anyway, and no one will really care because it's just Chelsea. Chelsea always screw us up a new one anyway. So that one to me is like, meh, this shit happens. Get on with it, sort of thing. Not the best attitude to have, but again, it is what it is as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to
we've got a couple of games, and then we've got the Carabao Cup. The thing that's interesting about the Carabao Cup game, it's in between one game. I can't remember the game it was, but then you got Man United in the Carabao Cup, and then you got Liverpool.
Southampton's the game before, Alex.
Oh, Southampton. I think it's a late game as well.
Yeah, so it's 7 o'clock on the Sunday, and then we got United on the Thursday. So we got 4 days in between.
4 games, yeah. But it's a very heavy schedule, and this is not even until like December. It's now.
It
January
always
as
is.
Well.
It always is.
Yeah, but I'm not just. But normally Europe finishes in December. It finishes in January this year. January.
That is actually a solid point, mate. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah,
we got.
That is a solid point.
Starting on Thursday, we've got 9 games in 32 days. So, and then in January, we've definitely got 7. And if we beat United, we've got the semi-final first leg. So we'll have 8.
Including Europe. Including
Europe, yeah. And the FA Cup.
Yeah. So to put it quite bluntly again, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it one more time, we are fucked.
We're not fucked. We're not fucked, Jake.
No,
we're not. We're
really?
Not. No, that's not.
Good use of words.
You don't know with this team.
Ian, I believe it when I see
They're just
it.
Jekyll and Hyde. They are total Jekyll and Hyde. Now,
I believe it when
Forget
I
the
see
whole
it.
team. We've got
No,
Fraser
no.
Forster in goal now, for God's
Okay.
sake. How many times
Okay.
has Vicario saved us points on that pitch?
I know.
If we want to get serious against City, he made some bloody good saves and saved our ass a couple of times on there. If we really want to get technical on there,
With
if
a
he wouldn't
broken
have been
ankle.
so good, if he wouldn't have been so good, we could have easily let in 2 goals, and that could have gone a total different way. He's a great goalkeeper, saves you, wins you a season even, can save you 10 to 15 points. We've now got Fraser Forster in goal.
Well, James and I have been saying this, haven't we, James? For how long?
Yeah.
About Vicario?
Yeah. Now, like I said, I think now people are going to realise it's the little saves that he makes that people go, oh, shit, yeah, that's the signs of a good keeper. And he gets a lot of stick for his corners, and rightly so sometimes. But I think now we will realise and say he's actually very, very good.
He does make some good saves. He does.
I don't think no one, James, has said he is a bad keeper.
No, not saying
no
he's
one
bad,
said
but
he's a
I think
keeper.
A lot of people have said he's been overrated.
As an all-round keeper, there's better out there. As a shot stopper, he's only second to Alisson, as far as I'm concerned.
Dan, I think what James and I are saying is that we both feel that, and on this and other podcasts that we're on, I think we both feel that Vicario is underrated. I don't think people realise quite how good he is overall.
Agreed.
Okay. I can only speak for myself. I don't think I underrate him. I knew he was a good goalkeeper before he came to Spurs. And yes, he's had his moments. Yes, I feel he needs to improve in the air and command of the area significantly better, because he still gets bullied. But I did like what I see against City with him pushing a player away, like, get the fuck out of my face. But I need him to be more consistent like that. But when you compare him to other keepers as a whole, as a sweeper keeper, there's 3 or 4 better than him in that league quite easily. And Raya is one of them. So is Ederson. So is Alisson. But as a shot stopper, like I keep saying, he is better than most of them except Alisson. And to be a goalkeeper these days, you need to be more than a shot stopper. It's not all about doing your basics anymore. I mean, he's excellent at it.
I'm going to dig up.
We are going to be damaged without him. No 2 ways about it.
Dan, I'm going to try and dig up his stats on passing, because I think it's a lot better than people think.
It's a lot better. It is a lot better.
I think yes. In terms of controlling his area, for corners, etc., I fully agree with you. There's a lot of room for improvement there. But in terms of his passing, and I can't remember. He's played 50 league games for Spurs. I cannot remember one goal where you can turn around and
Martinez,
say,
I forgot about him.
Yeah. No, but Dan, I can't remember one game where you can think, he's gone through his legs, he's been beaten at the near post, he's flapped, it's gone through his hands, he's been beaten by a long range shot. I can't remember one goal since he joined where you can turn around and say, that's banged down to the keeper. And that's
everything you're saying comes down to shot stopping, basically, as far as I'm concerned. Whether it's with your legs, whether it's with your hands, whether you headbutt the ball, that is down to shot stopping, as far as I'm concerned. If you want to put his passing into it, that's a load of bullshit, as far as I'm concerned, because he usually has to pass it 3 foot away from him. Yeah, so you can go and make a person who can't pass a ball come love nor money and make him look like a good passer of the ball, because he only has to kick it sideways 6 foot or whatever. Yeah, so that one to me just don't count for shit. But there are better keepers out there as an all-round keeper. But there is no way I've ever said he is bad, and I still think he is one of the best shot stoppers. And we are going to notice how much of a good shot stopper he is and how many points he actually gets us. I mean, last season, he easily got us between 10 and 15 points. Wouldn't you agree?
Easily.
He did. He made some good saves. And he does talk. He does talk. He does talk a lot. He shouts at people. What he does. I've seen
again. One of the things when I mean, Ian got me some tickets for me and my boy. We was on the halfway line, and you didn't hear Ange shout once, but all you could hear was Vicario screaming, "Press, press, 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 press." Vicario was screaming.
He does talk.
He talks. I listen. I know what people say about like stats and tricks, and people say like you were saying there, all these passes are close range, but you can't pick and choose some of these stats and stuff. People say, well, he doesn't come for crosses. How many crosses does he catch? Well, you can't use that stat if you're not going to use every stat. So for me, I just think I think it's class. I actually
James,
personally
I disagree with that one.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But for me, I think he's the second best goalkeeper in the Prem.
Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. Alisson is better than him. Addison is better than him. Martinez is better than him. Raya is better than him as an overall goalkeeper.
Raya this season alone has made 6 mistakes leading to 6 goals. Vicario's done none.
But there's more to being a goalkeeper than just
that. So, well, no one said that when we had Julio Gomez at the wheel. No one said that when we had Hugo Lloris in goal.
Didn't they? No one. Well, I did. I wanted Hugo Lloris gone round about 4 years before he went.
But that's what I'm saying. People wanted him gone because he was making the mistakes. But yet Vicario, but Raya's made 6, and people were still rating him as a very, very high goalkeeper.
James, get off your defensive Spurs high horse here, yeah?
No, I'm just talking facts. That's an
overall. Right, and I'll bring up some stats for you if you want, and you can compare the players to it, yeah? There is more to a goalkeeper than shot stopping. Okay, the mistakes and all that come into it, but when you buy a keeper these days, you're going for a sweeper keeper. You are not going for a Fraser Forster. You've got to go on how a player can catch a ball. You've got to go on how he can press the ball. You've got to go on how high he can jump. You've got to go on how well he can get to the ground. You've got to go on how he can pass the ball long, short, direct, how well he can come out, how well he commands his area, how good is his voice even, you know? How does he get bossed about on the pitch? There's so many things you have to go through on a
I rate my goalkeeper about how well you keep the ball out the back of the net. That is the most important thing for me.
Well, there's more of a goalkeeper than that. Because if your goalkeeper only shot stops it and pushes it in front of him, then he's not a very good goalkeeper, yeah? You need your goalkeeper to shot stop it, but push it off to the side.
But he's never done that leading to a goal. He hasn't done that leading to a goal.
I didn't just say he had. I just said that's where you need another thing of where your keeper to go. I think you're just being a bit blind on it with that one because you like Vicario, same as we all do. There's more to it than just shot
telling you the stats.
And there's significantly better out there. But he is an excellent player that we are going to miss. No two ways about it. I don't think anyone should get defensive off him when you say there's a better player out there.
I'm just saying, when you do look at the stats, people say, for example, Raya, me and Brian Daigle have got this running joke about Raya and blah, blah, blah. I've provided that guy with so many stats saying that Raya makes, he's made 6 mistakes in 11 games or 12 games leading to goals. Vicario's made none. So it's all well and good saying he doesn't come across the ball. And how can somebody be better than somebody else when they've made 6 mistakes leading to 6 goals and my keeper's made none? For me, it's all well and good looking good. And maybe
let me put this a different way to you then. Let me put this a different way. Something I spoke about earlier with a few people. Haaland, yeah? Excellent goal scorer. But he needs to be fed. He can't feed himself. Excellent at what he does. Harry Kane. Now, if Harry Kane scores 30 goals in a season and Haaland scores 40 in a season, who is the better complete player?
Okay.
Oh, it's Haaland because he scored more. No, it's Haaland because he scored more. So you're a better keeper because you've conceded less.
Okay, so let me answer that and like push it back on you kind of thing. Haaland is getting 60, 70, 80 chances created a game. I.e., for me, Raya has the best defence in front of him and he's still making mistakes. We have Vicario, where our defence is on the halfway line where they've been played in behind time and time again, and he still has just as good. Is he not letting? I think he's letting less goals than Raya as well this season.
Because he's an excellent shot stopper.
But what do you want, Dan? What do you want from your keeper?
I think you're all missing. I'm not digging at him, yeah? I just say there's more to a goalkeeper than being a shot stopper. I've played as a goalkeeper.
But being a shot stopper is the most important thing for a goalkeeper because that's what wins the team points.
Yeah, it can do, yes. You've got to be able to shot it properly. Yeah. But these days you have to be able to pass. You have to be able to do direct balls. These days you have to be able to command your area a lot more because you actually have to come out a lot more.
So who would you say
there is a lot more to being a goalkeeper than just shot stopping.
So who's better, Alisson or Edison?
Alisson all day long.
But then Edison's got much better passing range. He's much better with a ball at his feet. But yeah, for me, their keeper's a lot better.
I wouldn't say he's much better at his feet. I'd say they're 50-50.
I think he's the best keeper I've ever seen with his feet.
Okay, you haven't watched many goalkeepers then if you say he's the best one, for God's sake.
Now, yeah, personally.
I'll tell you one who was twice as good as twice the keeper that any of them were, and it's only because he's old, and that's Manuel Neuer, and he's 10 times.
No, but I'm talking about now, though. Obviously,
right. But you can compare.
I think that is opinion,
you can compare Edison. You can compare Edison and Alisson quite. Who usually makes the Brazil team out of them two? I mean, I'd say it's more Alisson that makes it, isn't it?
So I've just got the table up. We've conceded one less. We've got one less goal we've conceded, and yet they've got the best back line pairing in the league,
one more,
potentially
one more.
world.
We conceded one more, James.
Yeah, we conceded one more, and we've got our defenders playing in their half, and the amount of save to goal ratio is just not even comparable. So I understand what you're saying, but for me,
all I'm saying is there's more to an overall goalkeeper.
No, I agree. But for me, I judge a goalkeeper on how well they keep that ball out of the back of the net. I couldn't care if he could play 400-yard balls onto a 50p. If he lets in those goals, he's let in 6. So half of the goals that they've let in are due to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet this guy is better than Vicario
this season. I mean, last season he was significantly better.
Don't get me wrong. His highlight reel is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Some of the double saves he made from the pen, no doubt. And I'm not saying he's not a good goalkeeper. He's a very good keeper. But for me, Vicario is better.
Vicario is excellent at what he does. And that is shot stopping. I mean, he's not even the best at catching the ball, in my opinion. He's just extremely good at pushing it away. He doesn't even catch the ball with command the majority of the time. How many times does he come out and get bossed about and everything? You don't need your keeper doing that. The whole point of what I'm just getting at is he is excellent at what he does, and we are going to fucking miss him big time when we've got a lump like Fraser Forster in goal. And we can argue all day long on goalkeepers and that. I mean, you can say Martinez, he's a better goalkeeper than Vicario.
I disagree again.
Again? Okay, fair enough. I don't think there's much that he can't do that Vicario can. You can relate a lot of it, yeah? But then we also say that... We also say stats can be funny as well with things, yeah? But we're just got opinionated on this one because this one ain't going to change for anybody, yeah? It is more opinionated. I would say there's certain things Vicario's the bollocks at, and there's other things he really needs improvement at. So last thing I'm going to ask before I go, because I want to go have my dinner, because going to be on Spurs Kings TV tonight. What can we do up until January? Mike, I know you need to go, so I'll come to you first quickly, and then just going to round it off.
Till January, basically what we mentioned already, right? We have to adapt to the players that we have. As I said, we cannot play as aggressively out of the back with Fraser Forster. He's just not suited for that. And honestly, a bit of hope and pray will be good. I'm gonna be honest, because it's like we can't do much now, right? I've already mentioned the free agents market. It's not like we can get much better than Fraser Forster out of the free agents market. So we have, even if we want to bring in a goalkeeper, we have to wait until January. So until that December, we have to basically make the best out of the ingredients we have, right? But as you guys said, if Ange doesn't, if he doesn't adapt to the situation, then it's going to be tough, right? But if he actually uses his brain and adapts and sees who he has available and adapts to that, then I think we might actually be a bit better than we think we are.
So with the question that maybe I misinterpreted it earlier with what John Lee said, he's basically saying without Vic, what is our season finished basically?
No,
it's not finished. I think we can hang in there, but it's not going to be as easy, or I'm not going to feel as comfortable as with him.
I mean, these next 10 games can finish our season, basically. This December up to January can finish our season.
Yeah, I agree. Could, yeah.
If it all goes tits up, it really could. So, yeah. Ian, what do you think we got to do till January now?
I think he's got his blueprint from Saturday.
Cheers coming on, Mike. I'll speak against you, mate.
I think the blueprint tactically has got to be from Saturday. I think he's got to stay with it. Whoever the personnel are, that when the guys come back and they're fit and they're worth a place, because I don't think Romero should walk straight back in. I don't think there's anybody there that started the game on Saturday that deserves to be dropped. Otherwise players are entitled to say, well, you know what, what's the point of competing here, because you got no chance. You have a great game, you're still dropped. And I think that would kill team spirit immediately. So just stay with it. Forster's not the end of the world. He's not a bad keeper. When he came in for Lloris, I remember when Lloris, I know it's 2 or 3 years ago, but maybe 4 years ago, when Lloris broke his arm, Forster did okay when he came in. I'm sure it was Forster but when he's come in, he's done all right. He's not Vicario. It is a hell of a blow losing Vicario. It's probably the one player that you really, there's Vicario and Solanke, really, that you wouldn't want to lose.
I'd say Vicario's a bigger loss than Solanke all day long. Vicario is our biggest loss.
No, what I'm saying is, Dan, is that you've got massive drop-offs in 3 or 4 different areas, haven't you, as well? For me, Solanke gets injured as a target man, someone who presses the way he does. You've got nobody that does that, because Richarlison
I can still go and stick Son there as a goal scorer. I know it's a different sort of game, but the drop between Vicario and
I agree with you, Dan,
is like that.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say the drop between, say, Solanke and whoever we would put there would be more like that as such. The drop from them two is hundreds of hundreds. It's the worst thing that could have happened to us.
Absolutely. Totally.
We will miss Vicario over Forster more than we would Dragusin having to cover for Romero. Even Davis having to cover for Van der Ven, in my opinion.
For sure. No, it's the worst possible injury you could have got.
So James, how are we going to do? How are we going to do this? What we got to do?
I think this is going to sound a bit extreme, but I think if he drops the back line, plays more of a defensive team, I will be like, you know what, Ange, you've got my back in now, mate. You've noticed that we've got an issue. You've used your brain. You've adapted. So that will be a massive plus in my eyes. And I think I'll be back on the sort of like Ange train if I can see that sort of stuff happening. Also, I think if that is the case and we do lose, like what we said earlier, what more could he do? At least he's give it a go and said, you know what, this is the way I've got to do it. And if we still lose after I've tried my best to keep clean sheets and win games like that, then hey ho, I've done my best, and then I can accept that.
Yeah. No, do you know what? Yeah, go on, Alex, and your bit with that. What have we got to do now until January to survive, basically? Forget the point we need to buy a new keeper in January, but what have we got to do?
I'm not too sure if we can get a keeper in January because of the European squad rule at the moment. So that's what
all changes, Alex. After the group stages, you get to pick your squad again.
Oh, forget the Europeans. Forget Europa on this aspect. Fucking Premiership.
Yeah, we need another keeper anyway, definitely, because I don't think you trust the young players. So that's it for me. I tend to say that at the moment, I think we should be playing more deeper and trying to adapt with what we've got at the moment. I think that's all he's got to do at the moment. I think he'll get more respect. I respected him for that game, even though it is only one game. I know it's Man City. I do respect him for what he did, adapting and playing more defensively on Saturday against Man City and playing on the counter. Well, we have been playing on the counter anyway, for quite a while anyway. Let's be honest. But I'm glad that we were a bit deeper. I think we need to just continue doing that at the end of the day. I think we're going to have to play this way because it will save us from injuries. I think if we play, I accept we're going to press. That's cool. That's what everyone does now these days. That's cool. But what I don't think we should be doing is trying to exhaust the players as much as we can do at the moment, because we will get more injuries and it will get worse. because it's happened to other teams. It's happened to us before with Poch, hasn't it? So it's just natural, unfortunately. If we keep on using up the energy of the players, it will come back to bite you, isn't it? So I think we need to just keep the stats, these tactics at the moment, adapt to what we've got at the moment, and we will have a few stinkers, I think, but I think needs must at the end of the day, and I think we'll win more games than lose games, as far as I'm concerned. Whether that will be something I enjoy, I think it's going to come to the end of this. I think it's going to come to a natural thing for me. Whether I can, if we win a trophy, I've got to give it to him. You know, I've got to give it to him. Or we get top four.
But for me, that's just, I'm not even looking that far ahead now. I mean, for
me,
but
I'm just saying,
as long as
at the
I
moment,
see him adapt to cover that goalkeeper more and cover that defence more, I can give him a bit more leeway if he goes and loses the next 5 out of 10 games. I'm just saying, Forster in goal.
I'm just saying that at the moment,
I get where you're coming from, mate.
If he achieves achieves a trophy at the end of the season, like he says he always wins in the second season, I've got to respect him. Whether I like him, I don't, because James answered a very decent question there earlier. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't enjoy his football at the moment. I don't like the squad. I just don't think the squad is good enough. I see what he's doing, but I just don't think it's gonna get us up there.
Either way, for me, it's just about, as all it is now for me is covering up until January.
Yeah, basically, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
I need to see him do that. So, Ian, where do we find you, mate?
Oh, well, with you, with Sava, and with Still.
Okay, and James?
Yeah, same, mate. I'm always in the chats.
Okay, Alex, anything planned up?
Hopefully soon, maybe tonight. But then I want to see who you're debating tomorrow. I hope they got someone good tonight. I hope they turn up tonight, because they've been missing the last couple of weeks because we've been losing the people that love Ange. So I hope it's a good one tonight. I hope you got someone to rinse the pieces tonight on Spurs Kings TV. I really do. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I'm going to be on Spurs Kings TV tonight at about 9:45, if I remember right. So do get over there, give them a like and that. Just to answer a quick question here, Big Boss Man, my favourite film. It's got to be Shawshank Redemption. And then for me, it's got to go to Goodfellas, Casino, and then it's got to be Batman Dark Knight, because you are never, ever, ever going to touch what Heath Ledger did as Joker. What about you, Free? Just random question.
Cool.
I'm going to go something a bit different, maybe Warriors.
Gladiator was good as well, but I'm not going to get into all the films. And that Gladiator 2 is shit. Don't go watch it.
The Daniel Levy movie is pretty good.
I can't think of the film now, but yeah.
I mean, come on, Ian. What's your favourite film? Favourite couple of films?
What would I think? Star is Born with Streisand. I thought was brilliant, because I love music. I love Christopherson as well. I thought that was superb.
I thought the Bohemian Rhapsody was a very good film.
Okay.
My favourite film was
not my type of film.
Yeah, I think The Wolves of Wall Street. I was going to go for a funny answer, but the Titanic, because I'm used to in love. Anyway, but moving on. But anyway, yeah. So that's it, really.
That was Alex. That's Leonardo DiCaprio was taking off Levy, wasn't it? I'm not fucking leaving.
Oh, I bet he was. Other thing Jordan said here is maybe you can do a stream, Dan, talking about your younger days. Is seeing fun from the bits you've said, mate. If I go and do that, I'll get arrested. Let's just count myself lucky. How I never done bird. I'm a very lucky man. And also, if we had iPhones back then, I'd have been fucked, because I'd have probably been dickhead enough to record things. Same as the rest of us would have been. And one last thing. John Lee, thanks for the super chat, mate. Much appreciated. Yous lot, thanks for coming on. Mike, thanks for coming on. Pleasure to see you all. And I will catch up again with you soon. And I think we are up shit street. See you later, people.
Take care, boys.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. coming up and then I'm gonna take it down.